The dude's always late.
Hitting the button.
Hit it.
Dude can't even show up to his own podcast on time.
Every week, man.
Ugh. We're just kidding. I have no idea where Phil is, actually. I haven't gotten a text from her or anything saying, I'm running a few minutes late. He may have been kidnapped.
That's a possibility.
I don't know. We'll see. But here we are. It's episode 166 of Snakes and Stogies, which is brought to you by Fulvius Apparel. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram, fulviusapparel.com. And then blackboxcages.com. You need a rack, you need a cage. Hit up Jen and Clint. Get in touch if you have any questions. Use the code THN at checkout if you end up buying anything. Save yourself a little bit of money. And then the fine folks who are now newly married as of yesterday, Puget Sound Pythons, Jeff and Kendra. Very good people. Follow them. Stay in the loop. Not sure exactly with the wedding and stuff what they had planned as far as the season goes. But if you follow them, you'll know. And there he is.
Hello.
So I have this set up right to where nope, I gotta move Matt over here. And then I need to change.
Sorry, I'm late, old man.
How do I edit this? There we go. You're late.
Story of my life.
And Smitty. There we go. Boop. What's happening? The Gendra R1. That is right.
What did I miss, boys?
Nothing. Just the intro stuff.
Man, look at this. Matt's in the Carolinas for 24 hours, and he's already got a freaking Ganya Soma t-shirt on.
He needed a medium, and I just happened to have one medium left. And I was like, those ones are, that shirt in particular, those are super comfortable.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Crazy comfortable.
It's very soft and cozy. I want more of them.
Speaking of soft and cozy, what's it like having him sit next to you? He's in the flesh. He's in the studio.
It's cool. I was thinking about it the other day because I was thinking about when we had like Tim Morris and Doc Wyman and like all the people that have happened to like come by and actually do episodes with us like in person. I need to have something that like they sign. Like I don't know. Like I got this thing from Brahms. I should get like a metallic Sharpie or something and have people just start signing the back of it because it's.
Oh, absolutely. That's perfect. Yeah, you got to have...
Or even on the front, like somewhere on here.
Yeah. Because you got me, you got Dominique, you got Dr. Messenger.
I don't think... We didn't do a show with...
I mean, he's there.
He was here, yeah.
He was there.
That counts, I guess.
That counts.
Justin Olson.
Oh, you can't forget Pete Call.
Pete Call.
Yeah, Ryan Reed.
Ryan Reed. Jake.
Yeah, don't forget Jake.
What's been going on down yonder?
Nothing, man. I'm tired. Been working, going crazy. So, and a public service announcement. It doesn't matter. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah. I'm saying
okay.
I don't know whatever your PSA is.
Yeah. Public service announcement. It doesn't matter how long you've been keeping reptiles and amphibians. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. It doesn't matter what books you read. It doesn't matter what lectures you listen to. Be mindful of the animals in your collection. And if you notice something doesn't seem right, don't just chalk it up to, it's having a bad day. Read your animals. Listen to your animals. I had a Rincals die and an adult male. And this is an animal that I've had for 2 years. I got him July of 21. And it just out of the blue. And he hadn't eaten the last 2 times I tried to feed him. And I should have noticed something. I should have noticed something was off, and I should have paid more attention. And I can only chalk that up to my own fault for not reading the animal. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. It doesn't matter how good you think you are or how good you want to be. Read your animals, listen to your animals. They'll tell you without talking. And
I mean, was it just like regular, just like refusal? Like nothing?
Yeah, it was, I'm going to kill it and leave, because I feed live with them. And I'm going to kill it and leave it there. And I said, all right, you know what? Let me give him a day or two to let that thing in there. Maybe he'll eat it in a day or two. Because I mean, they eat anything they can find in the wild. You know, it doesn't matter if it's carrion or not. And I came in and he's dead. And the entire container smelled horrible. And I can only chalk that up to poor ventilation. And I have noticed this before. And I've had other animals that suffered from poor ventilation, and it's not going to happen again, you know? And it was gut wrenching, to say the least. So
yeah. No, man, I can understand that.
And I also feel like
put all that you know, when you think you're in the clear like that.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, man. Like I was like, man, I really want to put some weight on him this summer, because I'd like to try, and it was one of the adult males I was going to pair up in the fall. So not going to happen. And I want to put this out there because nobody talks about this stuff. And I feel like nowadays, you know, us, NPR, PH, Herp Talk Radio, like we're voicing more truth than fluff. And I want to keep that going. So, you know, you got to hear about the falls as well as the rises. And we learn from our mistakes. So
that episode with that project Herp did with Rob.
Oh, fantastic.
Bobby Pebbles was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Always.
Yeah.
That guy, man, he talks, I listen, you know.
Well, now you got to make the fucking shirt. You got to make the shirt.
I keep meaning to, and then wearing it.
Fulvius Apparel has no excuse for not making the Rob Stone is my hero shirt. It has to happen.
Yeah, you kind of got to do that, Smitty.
In stone we trust.
In stone we trust. Underneath. Well, on a lighter note, what are we smoking, boys?
I have no idea.
Yeah, little does he know, I laced it with PCP.
Oh man, it's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, you like to get
he
wet.
got the Antonio, Connecticut.
Nice.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Nobody's getting wet.
Yeah, I don't know. It maybe in the morning with all the dew and stuff around here.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get into
Clearly, no one's
the culture
seen the
shock of
Training Day.
The flora and fauna. I have, but I don't remember it that much. It's a great movie. I think it's one of Denzel's best.
Hands down.
Not a movie guy.
Oh,
I know.
Training Day, though?
Come on, man. Come on. And Lisa, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Steve Poole, my brother from another mother. I'm sorry, bro. He just lost an Apodora. So I feel your pain, man. For real. I'm with you, buddy.
Yep. Felt that with chondros repeatedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell people chondros should come with a cup because it's like get ready to kick in the nuts repeatedly when you get into them. Come with a free jock strap.
Well, a little chondro face on it. Ugh.
Yeah. Smiling.
Speaking of chondro shirts, that one that you made today,
this
that thing.
New one that I made last night and printed today is like a prototype just to see how well it would print. Sometimes I don't know. It's got a black box around it, which I did on a black shirt, which is stupid. I didn't think about that until I was actively printing it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of pointless. But I wasn't initially going to put it on a black shirt. I was going to put it on something else. So whatever. I'm smoking Southern Draw Manzanita.
Ooh.
This was one of the newer releases that they've put out in the last like year or two, and I had one when they first got them in. Wasn't all that impressed with it, but they've had a nice time. This is like still the first box that Raj got, so they've had time to sit there and age a little bit. So I'm giving it a second go. So far, it's pretty good. Let's see if his mic, if he hits the mute button.
You there?
Oh, I hear
Wait,
him.
there he is.
All right. I was spinning for a minute there. I was going to ask you, we always talk about the nice ambered cellophane. I'm going to start saving my cellophane that I get for the show to show people, you know, what a good oily cellophane should look like.
I have mine right here.
Oh, excellent. Hoist it up to the camera.
I'm trying. Minimal to no ambering, but that, you know, that doesn't, you see it more with oilier cigars, like darker, like Maduros and things like that. Right. This is, I forget what the wrapper is on this. I have to look.
Yeah, it's I think it's rare on a Habano. It's rare on a Connecticut, but still looking for it. Well, I'm smoking a Veterans of Tobacco True Believer in a snub nose. These are the local guys by me. And dude, I'm really loving the stuff they're putting out. I mean, I'm not a big, they do the pigtail thing, and that's why I was trying to burn the pigtail off, but dude, they smell great, they taste great, they draw really well. So rock and roll. Veterans of Tobacco.
I need to get, do they sell online?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'd have to snag me something, give them a shot.
I'm gonna try and score like a box and bring it to Daytona. So I got to hook up, you know.
Oh, well, nothing really new going on here. That smallest chondro from Luke that has been holding out forever on the color change in comparison to its clutch mate is finally going green, and it's coming in hot. Everything else in that clutch had already changed. Some of it went like black and then to green and then did some other really goofy stuff. This one finally, I mean, that snake's I think it was a 2021, maybe a 22, and it's just now starting to change when everything else changed fairly early on. So for a while there, me and Luke were like, what the hell's going on? You know, it just stayed yellow or orange for a hot minute and didn't really like change at all. It pretty much coasted at the same shade for the longest time, and then it just recently, within the last couple days, it started turning green, and it's starting from the back and working its way up, and it's looking good.
It changed quick, man.
Yeah. Some of them, man, they're weird. Some of them will change really fast, and then some of them will take forever. Some of them, like, you'll wake up and the next morning they'll be a completely different looking animal, like all kinds of just goofy stuff. There goes Phil.
He'll be back.
But you got to see it firsthand.
Yeah, I need to go back in there and look at it now because I've only saw that picture, or the reel that you posted. But I can, yeah, it was yellow.
Yeah, and I like when they start to change like that. I like to, like, every morning before work, go and take a video or a picture just to kind of document the shift and stuff, because it's kind of cool to see it happen, I guess, in real time, more or less. And it's pretty cool to see it just like the wash just start and it just keeps going and saturates all the way up, you know.
Forgive me if I missed this because my internet just conked out, but is this the one that you posted? Was it today or okay, dude, that thing is coming in hot with the blue. Oof.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting because I have two other chondros from Luke that share the same mother. But the father of this one is a John Irby animal, or a John Irby lineage, which is like crazy looking stuff. I think that the animal that produced, the father to that animal, his name's Crazy Train, and he's a descendant of Soul Train. And it's just really wild looking stuff. I mean, Irby's undeniably got some of the best chondros in the world, you know. And
nice.
This one that Luke had been raising up forever, he finally managed to get a get a lock and a clutch from it, and everything's been looking real good that everyone else has gotten from it. So whether mine ends up being the most normal, average looking one of the bunch, like the genetics are still there. I'm not upset about it, especially if you pair that to one of the, half siblings or something. Who knows what's going to happen, but don't even know if it's a male or female yet. Don't really care. It's still a chondro. I still love them. So
yeah, man, rock and roll.
But Matt here has been in the great state of South Carolina for several days now.
Yeah,
and
7
has
days.
been taken all over our Jake stomping grounds, more so in particular. And
Okay.
He was with me, was it yesterday or the day before? What is today? Monday?
Monday.
It is Monday.
It was yesterday, right? Because
No, it was Saturday.
It was Saturday. He went with me to my parents' house, and I showed him the rodent setup and stuff, and like we went and flipped the tin and stuff that I have on the property, and we were walking by there's like a overhang on a garage there that has the tractor and stuff, and there was a broadheaded skink, and for half a second I was like, oh, look, a broadhead. Then I was like, wait, Matt's never seen a broadhead. Look, a broadhead.
Nice.
One little glimpse, but
yeah, it didn't stick around long.
It counts.
Yeah, it does count.
I was like, it is just funny because it's like at first it's like, yeah, another broadhead, cool, and then it's like, wait a second, Matt's gonna see that and be like, what is it?
100%.
It's a broadhead. He gets to see his first broadhead.
That was one of my favorite things for Jake to ask me. It was like, what do you want to find, dude?
Yeah.
Like, there's only one thing you could put me on that I have. So everything's new, man.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's good. So now, forgive me if I'm prying too much, but is this a scouting trip for your move, or have you officially moved?
Scouting trip for moving. I didn't plan to actually make it this far without renting a house, but we made it this far. Still don't have a house.
Okay.
We wanted to look at the coast, see if we wanted to be more coasts or more hills, Tennessee area.
Okay.
The hills in Tennessee are just really, really, really similar to like the Black Hills. They're totally different environments, but they are literally like, I woke up in the morning, I was like, man, I drove 16 hours at this point, and I feel like I'm looking at the exact same thing, just with broadleaf trees instead of needles. Like,
what part of Tennessee was it in particular?
We went down through the Smoky Mountains on like the National Park Road that you don't have to pay for into Cherokee, North Carolina, and then we stayed right by the PGA golf course.
Okay.
Down there.
I've got family sort of west of Nashville out there, sort of in the middle of nowhere, and I love it out there. It's awesome, but it's completely opposite from here. So for me, it's a big change, but for you, I'm sure it's like more the same.
It's all the same. So then we made it to the coast, and this is all different, man.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
So you and the missus came down and left the kids behind, or?
Oh, I wish, man. I wish. That's how it would have worked out. Nothing against the kids. This is traveling with 5 people in a truck, and I looked.
3 small people in a truck.
Yeah.
Too, of those 5.
Yeah. I looked before I came in, and my trip meter from when I left and set it, we're at 3,200 miles and 200 gallons of gas.
Oh,
so
that's wild.
Yeah, it's a lot. We're a long ways away.
Well, that's why, I mean, if you're looking to move and stuff, it's kind of funny that you chose to kind of drive, because it's like there's a lot of real estate between there and here to look at, man.
Yeah, there is, but that was kind of the idea of it. At least you can, I got to see the Smoky Mountains. Never been there. Well, I would go back. I don't know if I want to live there, unless like the right deal just pops up,
right?
Which almost happened. Like the place we were staying at, they did rentals too, so they were like, "Oh, we have a rental right here for like in my budget." Like I'll take it. No, they want to do like Airbnb on it, so makes more money.
Yeah, Our next door neighbors was doing that for a while though, and they I guess cut people deals if it was like a long-term thing. Like there was an elderly couple that stayed there for a couple months, I guess, because they were like snowbirds or something, and she cut them, like they got a better rate, I guess, because they were there long term. But I'm sure that's a very different thing than like flat out renting indefinitely.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I guess last year they were making like, they had them booked out every single night for like $300 to $500 a night, and all year long. And then this year they can't even get them rented out for like 2 weekends a month. So, yeah, really interesting.
How much is the like collection and sort of like legislation side? Because you mentioned you're like Georgia's out of the running, like from the jump.
Yep. The Missouri's kind of out of the running from the jump because you can't have anything over 8 feet. And I just don't want that restriction put on me.
Right.
So yeah, there's a little bit of that. I'd be okay if it was like Tennessee, you can't do any venomous except for native. But other than that, it's pretty open.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with something like that.
Now, did you like have an idea of some of the places you were looking, or was this kind of like just wing it?
Well, a little bit of just winging it here, Phil. But but no, the whole idea is we can be anywhere as long as we're somewhat close to Charlotte, because there's a direct flight from Charlotte to Rapid.
Oh, okay.
So we could put the kids on the plane and they'd take one plane, no layovers or anything.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's good.
So we just need to be close-ish to Charlotte. That was the whole goal. And then we got down here and it turned into a lot more land to cover than I thought.
Yeah, but still,
I mean, Charlotte's still, you're not far from
no.
Like it's, I think, like a 4-hour drive from here to
Four
Charlotte.
Oh, okay. Four and a half, something like that.
Not horrible.
But it's a lot longer when you decide to try to go down the coast from Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
That was my dumb mistake there. I made a lot of dumb driving mistakes. I don't not think it's 3,200 miles from here to my house.
You always go like up to Columbia and then you just kind of jet.
Yeah, I haven't been to Columbia, man. Columbia, Tennessee.
There's a ton of Columbias, right? There's like a Columbia, Missouri too?
I think so. Yeah.
So were you avoiding going, like, looking out west?
We want the humidity, man. Okay. We want that. It's dry there. Like, Kelly got out of the shower today, and, like, 5 minutes later, she's like, I'm still wet. Yep. That's nice. So, like, I don't know. Your hair feels better. My skin's not dry. It's just...
It gets worse.
Oh, I know. I know. East River, South Dakota is humid, man. That's really wetlands too. It's just different. I think I hit more bugs in South Dakota than I've hit anywhere else, though. It was buggier there than it is here.
Mm-hmm.
So you live in East River, South Dakota?
No, I live in the Black Hills.
What's the town?
Spearfish.
I just got super curious because I happen to have Smitty's address saved. So it would be...
That's creepy.
It would be if you were driving...
I have to show me how to save addresses, Phil.
It would be 1 day and 2 hours straight, which would be 1,842 miles.
Yeah. So we put an extra 1,000 miles on of touring then.
Yeah.
Which
For
is
sure. Crazy. And like looking at the line on a map is pretty intense, bro.
Well, you got to think about like the first part of that drive from South Dakota to like north of Springfield, because we didn't go through KC. We went south a little bit further because we have family down there. But like that is a 12-hour drive. So like we leave at like 8-9 o'clock at night. And then we've just covered half of the trip essentially in one go. So then the rest of the trip was kind of spaced out and slow because that's where we were looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how much of it was just straight highway?
A good chunk. Oh no, because when we went through Missouri, we didn't take the highway because we were out in the middle of nowhere. We hit like 4 states getting to Tennessee.
Oh wow.
We went down into Arkansas, Missouri, through Memphis. We were gonna do like the pyramid that's in Memphis, but we didn't have time. That's the thing that I can say for a fact. I would do it slower if I did it again.
To like be able to check stuff out.
Yeah, like 200 miles a day max.
Yeah.
Not 4.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting to me because like I have family in Philly, and I used to go up there at least once a year to visit family, and I have.
Bad Phil night.
That makes me real sad.
If it ain't him, it's usually me. Like we pass this curse on to one another.
Am I back?
Yes. Maybe.
Audibly, yes. Visually, you're still frozen and staring very condescendingly.
Well, at least you can hear me. What was the last thing you heard me say?
You were going to Philly.
Oh yeah, so I used to go up to Philly at least once a year to visit family, and I would try and do it in under 16 hours. And it would usually be 16 and a half, something like that. But if I do that same stretch, I can almost make it to Matt's house if I go the opposite direction. So to me, that's just crazy. You know what I mean? And looking at the map, it looks so much farther away going to the Black Hills than it does just cruising straight up the East Coast. So,
I don't know. But he's Jake's put him on all kinds of cool stuff, man.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
I've seen a bunch of stuff I've never even seen. So it's great. Some copperheads, which no one here cares, but
dude, I've never seen a copperhead in the wild.
Really?
Which
really
blows my mind.
Okay.
They don't live by me.
Oh. That makes sense. Then.
Yeah, I'm 7 hours away from a copperhead, regardless of, which direction I go in.
Which is really surprising because you would think they do really well down there, like everything else does.
Yeah, I think it's too humid, to be honest. I don't know. It's got something to do with it. They don't cross that parallel.
Man, I wish you had seen that one that I pulled out of that garden netting the other day.
I think the babies that we found rival that. They were purple.
Yeah.
They were
when they're
straight up purple.
Small like that, they definitely are. And that female, I'm fairly certain was pregnant. And that was a big female compared to the other ones I've seen. It was a very decent sized copperhead, and color wise was really interesting too, because instead of having sort of the lighter like milk chocolate brown saddles and stuff, it was much more like just a deep mahogany. I don't know. It was just when I walked up to it, I thought it was smaller because they sent me a picture and I thought it was small. And I got there and I was like, oh my God, that's like one of the biggest I've ever seen.
Really?
And then I was like, oh my God, it's gorgeous.
It was very
managed
pretty.
to cut it out and save it with some cuticle scissors very carefully. And fortunately, my neighbors, those neighbors in particular, are like very much into nature and stuff. And so they're, I did as lame as this sounds, I did a PowerPoint presentation for like that whole half of the neighborhood because it's a bunch of retirees with their dogs and stuff.
That's awesome.
And so I put together a PowerPoint and I brought a corn snake over because they do like a little happy hour at someone's house each week. And so, everyone was there and they brought like lawn chairs and shit. So I did this PowerPoint on like native stuff. And, they all had my number after that. Basically, I was like, you see anything? Text me a picture before you do anything. I'll let you know if it's something that I need to come get or not. And these people, I think they already, they were already familiar with copperhead.
That's a great way to phrase it. I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
Yeah, no.
That's a fantastic way to phrase it because so many people say, send me a picture and I'll tell you if it's dangerous, or send me a picture and I'll tell you if like you can pick it up. But the way you phrase that, send me a picture and I'll let you know if I have to come get it, or I should come get it, or however you phrase it. That's a great way to put it, man.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if this couple like knew it was a copperhead because of, what I had showed them, or if they just knew because they're nature-y people to begin with. But
right.
They called me and I just happened to be sitting on the couch watching We're the Millers, and she texted me the picture of it, and I was like, well, I'll be there in 5 minutes, and hopped in my car and drove around the corner and got some cuticle scissors and just slowly cut it out, because she was tangled up in there pretty good. And I've had to pull out cottonmouths from that stuff before too, and they get tangled up in it. It gets pretty gnarly, and it's pretty nerve-wracking too when you're dealing with venomous stuff too that's all tangled up in it.
What did you want them doing to get it out? I mean, I know you said cuticle scissors, but did you like tube the head or pin it, or
no? So what I do now that this is like a multiple occurrence and I've had to do it, I figured out when you get there, first sort of assess what it's capable of. Is it like fully wrapped up to where like the head and neck can't really move? Does it have some leeway to where it can, it has some radius of ability to tag you? And then this one, she was pretty well tied up in it, but then she had kind of come a little loose to where probably the first like quarter of her body she could move. So I had my smaller hook with me and the cuticle scissors, and when it comes to this, like, definitely don't start at the pointy end. Like, start at the back and work your way up, because if you do it from the head and go down, you're just freeing up the head to cause more issues.
Right.
Like, you're only making your life way more complicated. So if you start from the back while they're still sort of tangled up and stuff, it makes it light years easier to get them cut out. And then as I work towards the head, having that hook and sort of pinning them as best you can, as gently as you can, and sort of taking your time and slowly cutting them out. And, she finally got loose, and they had this garden, because they're big on gardening and stuff too. They had like beehives and everything. But this like netting was like an enclosed section. I don't know if it was like blueberry bushes or whatever she was growing, but basically that copperhead got loose and started going into this. It was in the enclosed thing, so I had to like go in there and hooked her. And at that point she was pretty exhausted, so she wasn't too hard to handle. She wouldn't ride a hook great, so I ended up tailing her and just pulling her out and putting her in the bucket. And then ended up taking her up the road to near my parents' property, and releasing her there, which was a little further than I wanted to, but that was such a nice copperhead and stuff, man. I figured if I went and released her in woods nearby, that she would end up on someone else's property and she'd get dispatched or something. So figured that was close enough to where, she wouldn't have any issues. It's also, copperheads, they're pretty adaptable. I think they're not terribly picky on habitat and stuff. And having found plenty out there near my, in that same spot, I've released some other copperheads out there in that same spot. I just figured that was kind of the best course of action, because out there, there's acres and acres and acres of land before you get to anybody's house. So the likelihood of her running into another person is much slimmer out there than it was here. So, because I would have been really bummed out, man, if I saved that thing and a week later, a couple days later, come around to find that she's a pizza on the road, because
or got weed whacked or something.
Out. Yeah.
Was the netting, did it leave any marks, or did it do any subcutaneous damage?
Superficial. There were some spots where she was bleeding, where I think it had kind of cut in a little bit.
Okay.
Nothing major though, because I looked and checked, and there wasn't
nothing that wouldn't be fixed in a shed or two.
Right. If that.
Good.
Yeah, nothing major, because I noticed when I walked up on her and kind of looked at how bad it was, in terms of the entanglement and stuff, and I was fairly certain she was gravid, because she was looking really thick on that last third. I don't know if she would be considered like late term, but I think she was definitely had something going on, and it was just I was in and out in like I don't know, 10 minutes. It didn't take that long.
Good.
And the neighbors, I was like, "You're okay with me cutting your netting and stuff, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, do whatever you got to do. Whatever."
Nice. Good.
It was even more nerve-wracking because they're into like beekeeping. And so they had 3, like literally like, I don't know, 10 feet away from this, there's like these 3 massive beehives that are just loaded down with bees. And so they're just kind of standing there and these things are like flying around and whatever. And I mean, I'm used to like, I've been stung by bees. It's been a long time. It's not fun. I'm not allergic or anything, but it's still like I have to now cut out a copperhead and there's a bunch of bees flying around. And like there was a storm coming in, it was thundering. And I'm like, this sucks.
You're used to 1 bee, not 50.
Yeah. No, it was like 150,000 is what the guy told me because
but not flying around your head though.
I mean, they were flying around, but I mean, they were both just standing there, and like the bees are flying around. I'm like, "You ever get stung?" He's like, "There's like 150,000 bees. I've been stung like 3 times." He's like, "Not really." So I was like, "Okay, fair enough."
It's pretty good odds.
Yeah, but I thought, I mean, it was really cool because Katie's wanted to get into beekeeping, and so I texted them after I got back from releasing that copperhead and stuff, and I was like, Katie's been wanting to get into that. Is there any classes or groups she can get to join? And she said basically talk to her husband because he's the guy who does all that, but they'd be happy to.
That's cool, man.
Learn her some stuff. So it is really cool. Like beekeeping, I think is really, really fascinating.
And that could be your segue or your gateway to have some copperheads at home. Or pygmies at home.
Well, that's what I told that couple too. I was like, the irony is, like pointing at the beehives, I was like, those have killed way more people than these things ever will.
Yeah.
And they just kind of laughed. They just like they agreed. I think they knew like bees kill more people than a lot of stuff does.
For sure.
I should rephrase that.
Bees contribute to more fatalities.
Anaphylaxis kills more people than
yeah. Bees contribute to more fatalities annually in the United States than snakes do. It's a fact.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was there. I think again, it's more so the anaphylaxis than it is the actual sting itself.
And Matt's gonna sell all his snakes and become a bee aficionado.
No. No. I don't like bugs, man.
Oh, dude, how are you on this?
This is why I don't have geckos or lizards, because I don't want bugs.
Fair enough. But that is pretty cool, man. You did like a community outreach and did a little presentation, and now you got the hookup, man. So as soon as somebody finds that leucistic canebrake on their hedge line, they'll call you.
Yeah, it was, they asked me to do that, actually. They were like, somehow they found out that I was snake dude, that guy in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that news travels quick, bro.
Especially when you got bumper stickers.
Yeah. The shirts and hoodies and hats and car decals don't help, but
yeah, an apparel company.
Yeah, this was a couple of years ago now. This was like 2 years ago that I did that, but
okay.
They I brought a corn snake, and just the variation of reaction from people in that was hilarious. There's people that were like, you could tell they were super curious, but they didn't want to touch it. They didn't want to get within like 5 feet of it. And then you had the ones that were like all about it and were like holding the corn snake and
give me that thing,
loving it. And yeah, and it's, we're talking about people that are, in their late 50s to, late 60s, early 70s. Like,
yeah,
it was interesting. And I think the PowerPoint and stuff was probably overkill, because I brought like a TV and a thing to hook up my computer to it, and did it out on the lawn in the backyard. But people were really appreciative of it. They were
yeah.
It was mostly like, I didn't go over all the native species, obviously, but I was like, here's what you're most likely to see.
Right.
Here's what you should be concerned about. Here's what you can do to mitigate seeing the things you should be concerned about. And it was basically keeping your yard clean, which a lot of them do. When you get older, I guess, and you retire, your lawn becomes your baby and your project. Landscaping, I guess. And, telling them what they should do if they get bit, if their pets get bit, any of the misinformation that's out there, wearing, obviously wearing like closed-toed shoes at night, not walking around barefoot or in flip-flops and in dense foliage or anything like that. Just kind of the basics, I guess. And
sure. Well, I also think it's cool, just going off of your little presentation you did. I don't mean to call it little, you know what I mean? I like the fact that we can text people now and you can send photos as well as receive them. So, and everyone's like, yeah, we know, Phil, we all joined the 21st century. But I just sent Smitty a picture that I made for Anna Maria's cousin, their kids are really into snakes, like super duper into snakes. And they wanted to know the difference between a scarlet king, a scarlet snake, and an eastern coral. And yeah, you can Google photos of all of them, but it's cool to just have a quick pic, like saved on your phone or saved in your files of your phone or your iPad or whatever. And that way you can educate children, you can educate each other. And I think I might actually start making these just to share with people, at least in our region, where you have like the venomous snakes of Florida, venomous snakes of Georgia, venomous snakes of South Carolina, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then have like, this is the difference between the mimicry and the actual venomous stuff.
Right.
And, like almost like those like nature pamphlets that nobody actually cared about, but they made them anyway.
Like $10 and people somehow buy them.
Yeah, exactly. Something to that extent. And I sent you the picture, Smitty. I don't know if you want to throw it up or if it even arrived yet, but I like that community outreach. I like that people actually want to know. And there's always going to be people that don't care. It's a snake, get the shovel. That's always going to be around.
I don't know, man. Everyone seemed pretty invested in it when I was doing it.
Well, that's great, man. That's great.
But I also, that was one of the big things, being that coral snakes are so prevalent, and that's kind of been the one thing that was the worst thing that came of that presentation. Was now I have my neighbors texting me pictures of coral snakes in their yard all the time that I'll never get to see.
My God.
Is like kind of the thing now, because I mentioned coral snakes and people are like, oh, is that the one where the red touches the blue and the black and the thing and the I just tell people now, I'm like, if it's any combination of those colors or if it has red on it at all, just don't. The rhyme doesn't matter. Just don't touch it. Leave it alone. Assume it's dangerous. The rhyme. If you're not gonna touch it and mess with it anyways, then the rhyme really doesn't matter.
And you tell people the rhyme. They memorize the rhyme. They burn the rhyme in their mind. They teach it to their kids. And then you find a melanistic one or you find an aberrant one.
Right. Well, that's one thing I do tell people too, especially with corals, is like 99% of the corals you're ever going to see are going to have a black face followed by a yellow band with a black neck. Like, it's easier for people to identify if it has a black face and a black nose.
Right.
Then that's most likely a coral. Like, I tell people that's easier to identify than all the different rhymes or, variations of it or whatever. If it's those three colors and it's got the black nose, black face, and then the yellow band immediately following, then leave it be.
Yeah. Well put.
I just want to find easier ways for people to remember these kinds of things instead of the ancient rhyme. Yeah.
And I also made the same picture that we put up right here. It has the scarlet snake, scarlet king snake, and the eastern coral. If anybody wants this photo, I will gladly send it to you on Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Just hit me up. I also made one of all the different copperheads. Obviously there's no mimicry on that, but it's got every single typical phenotype of copperheads. So if you guys want that too, I will send that out as well.
Yeah. What's fun fact? I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but the first recorded death of the Civil War was from a coral snake.
A coral snake, really?
Yep. First documented death of the Civil War was a coral snake bite.
Yeah, but how is that of the war?
Because that was happening at the time. Like, it was probably a Yankee soldier that was down here, saw it, picked it up, was like, man, this thing's pretty, and then it bit him, and then subsequently hours later. He just didn't wake up, and they're like, what happened, Bob?
Like blue coat throwing coral snakes at gray coats.
Oh, they're just loading guns up with coral snakes. That's it. Shoot them out like birdshot.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say first casualty. I said first
Okay.
reported death.
Ah, okay. Well, that's still pretty cool. Sad for that guy, but pretty cool.
What was it? Was that something I was talking to you about? It was like, imagine being yeah, because we were looking at Jake's pine. He got those southern pines, and I was like, man, imagine being like one of the sellers from like the Spanish ships or something to come. And they land, seeing a giant pine snake like that, or a giant Eastern diamondback, and like it might as well be an alien, like not knowing what the hell you're looking at. And then someone had to be the first person to get tagged by one to figure out whether or not they were a problem or not.
Yeah,
and it was like, it had to suck. Like that's especially you get nailed by like a giant Eastern dude back then. Like,
oh yeah,
you're done.
Well, it's like we talked about this before on the show about there's a letter from Jamestown Settlement, or like a report from Jamestown Settlement about giant snakes on the beach with rattles on their tails. And it's like, could you imagine just walking down the beach and seeing a bunch of canebrakes and like having never seen a snake with a rattle? Like, incredible, scary as hell.
Yeah, or a giant pine hissing at you, and like,
yeah, exactly. A white pine, a white pine snake. Oh Jesus,
dude, that pine snake, that female pine is so freaking huge.
What, Jake's?
Yes.
Really? I didn't realize it got that big.
Let me find the picture.
Yeah. Is that's one he got from Chris?
Him and Chris went in on them together.
Oh, okay. So what, Chris sent him a male and he bought the female, or?
No, I think they went in on them together and they were shipped to Jake from whoever.
Oh, okay.
Wrong way. Those are the phallic snakes from last week.
The hollow mouths.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that white one that he got. That thing was freaking huge.
Yeah, that's a.
Well,
and we purposefully told him hold it close to your body so there's no forced perspective going on.
Yeah, yeah. No grip and grin. No grip and grin. Mike Kosicki says, how long did it take the first British colonizers in Australia to figure out what was deadly and what wasn't? Yeah, man, that thing's huge. Look at that.
It's wild.
That's a big old pine snake. And Mike Kosicki, I feel like when the first British colonizers went to Australia, just everything was deadly. You know,
everything looked the same.
Yeah, exactly. No offense, Australia.
That's why it became a prison island.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that pine is huge.
Man, it's because you're clicking buttons.
I know. That's the problem when you do anything.
It does it on my end too.
StreamYard doesn't like it when you do things outside of StreamYard.
It really doesn't. That's a fact.
Am I frozen?
No, we can hear you. You're visually you're frozen, but we can hear you fine.
Damn, it looks crystal clear on my side. Oh well. Hopefully it's a good freeze frame.
You're just puffing that cigarette.
Yeah, it's got you frozen, like taking a drag.
It's the longest drag of all time. Nice. Oh man.
But Matt got to see a garter that wasn't the garters at home.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, let's get back to Matt's herp in South Carolina. Come on, man. What else? Yeah. Bunch of copperheads, a garter,
handful of copperheads, ribbon snake.
Which is funny, guys. I have yet to see a ribbon snake.
You're serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even see it.
Really?
We saw two, and Jake saw them, and I was like, "There's no snake there, dude. I didn't see shit." He gets out. Here, no, look, dude. It's just a little itty bitty snake. I'm like, how did you see that? Where was it?
The only redeeming factor of the ribbon snake is that it's Nipper Reed's favorite snake.
And that thing was cranky too.
Super, and they smell so bad. Smell so bad.
So mad at life.
Oh yeah. So what else?
Garter snake.
Racer.
Just like the normal garter snakes here. Like the only thing we have is like the plains garter, which has a bright orange stripe down it. We've got a couple others, but like they're not interesting. Yours are blue and green down here. Like you got all sorts of cool shit.
Yeah, the irony with that is like that's the tin stack that I found that female like 3 weeks in a row hanging out under. And then one of those weeks there was a male with her, and so she was gravid. And so the next time I went back, because I was going to catch her and hold on to her until she dropped a litter and then release her back where I found her, just for, the fun of it, and Ladies Island garters, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
I'd buy those.
And like I flipped that tin and she's not there, and I was like, oh well, she's gone. And then I just happened to look up, and in a little patch of like scrub grass, she's coiled up, just sitting there staring at us. And I was like, that's the same female, like that's the same snake. Like she's been hanging out in the same area, and it's hilarious that I can like go over there and sort of expect her to be in the area. And so we chased her a few feet because she started to take off, and Matt held her and she was fine. She didn't really take any swings at him. Once we had her,
once she calmed down, she was gonna take a swing at me. She had her head flat.
Mm-hmm.
All nice.
Yeah, mean.
Was she still gravid?
I don't think so. We're not sure.
Okay.
She looked like she was fatter last time I saw her, so I'm thinking maybe she had dropped, because it's been probably a solid month since I seen her last.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm glad he saw her, because she's a really good example of like the pretty ones we have here that are, that just turquoisey green, because we have ones that are like army green and fairly ugly. We have some that are kind of brownish and more checkered, like that male was that I found her with, and then there's her, which is like that nice bluish green.
Very cool.
It's very, very nice. So
let's see. Broad-headed skink. I've seen the little skinks running around on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Only once. Man, toads.
Yeah,
toads. Lots of toads. Frogs.
What kinds?
Is there just two here? Southern and American. This is what Jake said.
There's oak, Southerns, Americans, spadefoots, if those count. Narrowmouths, which you would have noticed if you had seen them, because they look stupid. I couldn't tell you the difference between the Southern and the American. Honestly, I'm not terribly.
I'm guessing that's what they were, because that's what Jake kept saying.
Well, don't Southerns have a dorsal stripe and Americans don't?
I have no idea.
I think all of them here had a dorsal.
I was going to say they all look the same to me. It's like
some are darker, some are lighter. Jake said the lighter, darker is the way to go. But I feel like that's a natural variability thing.
I don't have Americans by me, and we have Southerns and spadefoots. Obviously, spadefoots look like spadefoots; they look totally different. But there's so many times when I think it's a cane toad, and then I'm like, "Oh no, look at that stripe!" and it's a southern toad. So you get some big old Southerns by me. I mean, not cane toad size, but
Matt saw a turtle laying
man, I've got lots of turtles. This trip has been a turtle trip, and
it's
I'm
actually been like herping wise. I think it's been a pretty solid trip. Like,
we've
absolutely. Had other people come down that didn't see half the stuff that you've seen so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not complaining one bit.
That's cool.
I'll go see more gators again in the morning, man. Like,
oh, nice. You got on gators too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm on gators every day, man.
How cool
we
is
go
that
out there
Cypress
every morning.
Wetlands area, though?
That is a pretty cool little like.
It's so strange that it's like right in the middle of this little town.
Yeah, I sent pictures to my mom. I'm like, this is a park in the town, and there's gators here.
A ton. There's a lot of gators in there.
She's like, did you find a place to live yet, honey? I'm like, it's gonna be somewhere here because there's freaking gators, man. Like,
that's good. That's good.
Oh, I saw a really nice Eastern King in there one day.
That's the one on my list. That would be it.
I almost got my hands on it. I think I had it by the tail for a brief second, and then it managed to pull away. And
you hesitated and loosened your grip.
Yeah, well, part of it was like not wanting.
I
didn't want to like yank it out of the stuff it was trying to crawl under, because I was like, I'm gonna freaking kill this thing and break its back or something. So, but yeah, that little Cypress Wetlands area, man, it's really cool. There's gators everywhere. There's about 1 billion turtles. They have some of those. There's some like seasonal nesting egrets of some sort, and ducks, and
tons of egrets, and
it's really cool.
Ibises.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, herons. There we go.
Oh yeah,
working on my birds, man. I'm working on my birds.
I think sometimes there's wood storks, which are really neat. I've come to like wood storks a lot.
I don't know. Y'all got these like little ground birds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they are. You got lots of species of them down here. But I'm herping with Jake, and I'm like, man, y'all got a lot of grouse here.
Really tiny grouse.
Yeah, they're just, well, grouse aren't big.
I mean, when I think of grouse, I think of like either the stuff in the British Isles, or I think of like the big diesel ones in the Sage out west.
I think like maybe like a basketball max, smaller than a chicken.
Okay.
At least back home in South Dakota.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what made them decide to make that little wetlands area a park, but they've done a really good job. Like there's a boardwalk that kind of goes all through it, and some small paved over trails, and it's not a big thing. Like it's small, but there's a ton of stuff in there.
There's a ton of turtles, ton of everything.
Last time we were there, I saw one of the biggest gators I've seen in a long time too, because I managed to. It was close enough to the bank to where I could probably get about 15 yards from it, maybe. Because even from a distance, you could look at that thing and say that's a big gator. I bet you that's the bull that runs that little area.
I got a picture of one out at Donnelly that has to be 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like the head got chunky.
Yeah.
You know, like when that neck area gets chunky on a gator.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I'll look for that real quick.
We should have gone to Pinckney out in Bluffton, which is another odd one. It's this like national wildlife refuge, and it's nestled right between Hilton Head Island and Bluffton, which are jam-packed with people on both sides. And it's just this wide open, like massive nature reserve that you can't even really see from the bridge that you're crossing over it to go to not hunting, but Hilton Head. And that's where me and Justin Olson saw like about 1 million gators and a copperhead, because he had never seen a copperhead either. That was his first copperhead. All kinds of stuff. So if you ever end up back down this way, we definitely got to go hit that up.
Heck yeah.
I'm probably going to take bikes next time because that walk was brutal. Because we were walking in one direction thinking that was taking us to the parking lot, ends up being the opposite direction. And so we ended up walking like, I don't know, probably 3 miles straight just to turn around and have to do it again. So it sucked.
Yeah, 3 miles is a little bit of a jaunt there.
It'd be good for bikes because it's pretty much flat, like everywhere. It's not super hilly. Like if you go to hunting and you go to some of the trails, if you go to the Fripp end of the island, the trails are really flat. But if you go to like the campground side where you first come on, it's like, I don't know what you guys checked out there as far as the trails and stuff.
You know, the walking we did was on the road, and then there was some sort of accident, and like the EMS and the fire trucks and everyone were like coming on the one-way road, like because we walked down the beach, and we walked a lot further down the beach than I thought we did.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2-3 miles down the beach. It felt like it anyway. We walked for like an hour. Then we turned around and it was an hour and a half back because that road like swerves through everything and it's not straight like the beach.
There's like no straight roads on that island.
No. So we walked the road, which wasn't smart with 3 kids. But it was okay. The road speed limit's 25. People just need to slow the heck down and it'll all be good.
Yeah, a lot of people don't pay attention to that at all.
Yeah, welcome to the South, pal.
Oh man. Yeah, that's the one thing. Tennessee, best state to drive in. Hands down, so far. Ever.
Because everyone drives like a normal human being?
Because everyone, like, there's no, I don't know what the speed limit in Tennessee is, but you can go and cruise at 90 and you be getting passed. I know, I did it. I cruised at 90 across Tennessee and was getting passed the whole time. So
that's wild.
I was like, wow.
Dude, if you're out in like the sticks and stuff in Tennessee, like there's no cops out there that's going to stop you.
No.
You're on your own. That place is lawless. It's like Texas, dude. Out in Texas, it's like floor it. Who's going to stop you?
But one game warden looking for the herpers.
You got a better chance of Border Patrol stopping you there than you do anything else. And if they see you booking it that fast, they're probably just suspicious that you got a bunch of people in your trunk.
Yeah,
that's true.
And we can prove that.
We saw a car roll on the way here, like blow a tire and roll on the freeway.
Shit. Jesus.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Man, you've been having a hell of a trip.
It is.
Seen it all.
All from the driver's seat of my car. That's about it.
Wow.
At least what it feels like. And then, of course, we're like, oh, let's take a day break and stop driving. So let's go into Charlotte and race go-karts and drive some more.
Yeah. What do you guys want to do for fun? Let's go drive some miniature cars.
That's exactly what I said to them. And they went along with it. And then we get done with it. And I'm like, man, I've just been driving. Like, I haven't got a break all day.
I'm sure the boys love that.
Oh, man. And they got to drive their own cars. The youngest, he's gonna be crazy. He has no fear whatsoever. The oldest, at least, like I took the oldest with me and Jake last night. Oh, armadillos, man. We've seen armadillos. That's very important
because that's a very foreign concept for Matt. Like, dude, they're like squirrels here. They're everywhere.
So anyway, me, Landon, the oldest kid, and Jake are cruising. We just I don't know where we were exactly, but we were cruising, and then all of a sudden I'm like, an armadillo. Jake, you gotta stop. I open the door and I let Landon out. I'm like, go get that armadillo. Don't touch it, but like go up and look at it. Like go up and look at it. That kid's just booking it up to the armadillo. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, don't touch it, man. Don't touch it, but we're good. Like,
yeah. Catch it with your eyes.
Yeah.
You can get pretty close to them during the day, because when we went out to Pinckney, man, they were all over the place and they would just be rummaging around. You could get within like probably 6 feet of them before they figured out what was going on.
We were within like 4 of that one, I think, 4 to 6, and we were walking with it down the road, and then it was like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, their eyesight's horrible, but their hearing is really good, so they're damn near blind.
Well, was that in West Texas when we were in that parking lot with Dr. Julander, and we like corralled this armadillo in the parking lot? Poor guy.
Oh
yeah, me and Dr. J somehow ended up back at the car first, and I just remember looking over because there's this little field with like a pump house on it, like in the parking lot, and there's like 5 armadillos. I was like, hey, let's go see what these things are doing. Talks like, you go around one side, I'll go around the other. We somehow managed to like corner it against this pump house, and then it finally, like, it just bolted. It just took off.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't expect is like how fast they can move.
Dude, they want to go.
Like the first one I walked up on, because I've never seen an armadillo, right? You guys are like, yeah, screw them things. No, that thing's cool.
I mean, they're cool, but they're also invasive as shit.
Oh yeah, and they dig big holes.
They will tear your yard apart.
I don't doubt that.
You gonna have any bugs though?
Yeah, that's true. And when the armadillo dies, there will be a nice burrow for a snake to live in.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Which is one point Landon had to make to Jake.
See, Jake's not thinking outside the burrow.
At least the armadillo's digging a hole for a snake later. Like, it's making homes for things out there.
Yeah.
Dude, man, yeah. When we were in Georgia, up in Athens, man, like the burrows were everywhere. And I just remember thinking, like, if only I had like a wire camera, I could just stick down there just to see what's. They make them now that you can plug into your phone. And I'm like, I need to get one of those just out of curiosity, because like, who knows what you'd see down there?
They're like $20 on Amazon, man. It's a cell phone endoscope.
I'll be cautious on the $20. I've spent $400 on one of those probe camera things, and it was not that great, and that was from Snap-on. So,
oh really?
Like, the camera quality is just crap when you get it in that small of a format.
I really just wanted, if it has infrared, then
you'd
really
be like,
way good. See what I can see in there. I don't care if it's color or not or whatever. But I don't see. I mean, I guess there is a purpose if you have for like a full color camera like that. But for the most part, I would think infrared would kind of be the only thing they would need, because most people are going to be sticking them down into dark things and colonoscopies and all that good stuff. So.
Well, I know the gopher tortoise biologists down my way, they use them, the cell phone ones, to look down the burrow. That way, you're not face to face with the diamondback. You know,
Fair
because
enough.
they're not pulling out the tortoises per se, but you know,
Right.
they want to get soil samples and temperature readings and photograph tortoises in burrows. And you go climbing down there like a GI with a 45 and a flashlight, you come face to face with good old Adamantius.
Not a good day.
Not a good day.
Yeah, no, I'm good on the venomous bites, man.
Especially two teaspoons of hate to the face. Ugh.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Not only would the envenomation suck, but I'm sure that bite itself would
Yeah.
certainly have a level of suck to it that wouldn't be enjoyable.
Level of suck.
Billy Jenkins,
That's a
they are
shirt.
fast as hell. I walked up on my first one and I was like, oh, sorry, Phil.
What, you broke up?
Yeah, you broke up and I went. You're right, they are fast as hell. I walked up on my first one, I got like within 5 feet, and then it like jumped and bolted and scared the crap out of me. I didn't realize they move fast and they jump, and like Jake was sleeping.
Spring loaded.
Yeah, he said Jake was passed out.
Oh.
Like in the front
In
seat,
all
he slammed on the
fairness-
brakes for an armadillo, and Jake was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, in all fairness, like we did start road cruising at 3 a.m.
Yeah, these maniacs.
What'd you try and find at 3 a.m, man?
Yeah, we just
Armadillos.
we stayed up, and then it was like 2, and we were like, well, we better not go to sleep because we're not gonna wake up to road cruise, right? And then it hit like 3, and Jake like went down, laid on the bed. I'm like, oh hell no!
It's all over.
Oh hell no! It's all over if you
10
go to
count.
bed right now. Like you'll wake up at noon tomorrow. So nope, get in the car. Let's go. He's like, okay, yeah, we're not gonna find anything. I don't care. Let's go. We gotta do something. You're gonna go to bed, man. So,
Nice.
So he road cruised for like, he drove for like an hour and a half, and then he's like, dude, I can't do this anymore. It's like, no one's driven my truck.
That is a pretty big deal because, like, usually, I mean, Jake's asked me to drive before, and I'm like, if you want me to, and he's like, he's very particular about his
Man.
truck being driven.
Yeah, no, he was. Dude, no one's driven my truck, man. Only 3 people ever. Like, okay, I'll be nice, man. Like,
I'll be gentle.
Yeah,
Never Vin Diesel.
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that. I scared the hell out of my fiance on accident doing the same thing 2 days ago. There's this not new. The road's got to be at least 100 years old, but it goes through this town where like the town developed around it, and like the road's just abandoned. And a client of mine was like, "Hey, you probably find some snakes on this road. Go check it out." I was like, "Man, I didn't even thought to even try that because it's so surrounded by like town. I figured it'd be not good." And it looks really, really promising. We only saw one baby water snake, but I was driving. It's like midnight, and Anna Maria's passed out in the front seat with me, and this feral hog comes out of nowhere, booking it to charge the car. And I guess it got within like 10 feet of the car. I didn't even see it. It got like 10 feet of the car and realized this is not another feral hog. This is a vehicle. I'm going to die. And like swerved out in front of me. So
Subaru.
I slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
She wakes up and I was like, hog. And like I skidded, and she wakes up and she's like, oh my God, why'd you do that? I was like, well, I didn't want to hit the friggin' pig. So sorry, baby, if you're listening.
No.
Yeah, God forbid you take one of those out.
Oh man, I don't.
Oh.
It's a lease, dude. It's a lease.
Okay, so like Jake's like, what do you want me to put you on? I'm like, I gotta see gators if you got them. Like,
look at Jake trying to be all like the tour guide.
Yeah,
What do you want me to
up.
What do you want me to put
Like,
you on?
Motherfucker, you ain't putting nobody on nothing except for pure luck.
Yeah, exactly.
he's like, I can promise you gators, man. That's no problem. Like, okay. So like we go see gators, and then he's like, let's road cruise, and we road cruise a dead gator. Oh man, you have to talk to Jake about that. But like, that's what I wanted to see here, and now it's DOR. And we stop. I'm like, I gotta get it off the road at least.
Like, yeah,
so,
thanks for putting me on that, Jake.
I'm like, well, he almost hit one too, and then he's like, "Man, I never see the gators cross the road." I'm like,
You
"Dude,
really don't though.
What
That I
the
can vouch.
hell?
Like I've never seen a gator crossing the road.
Really?
It's because you're road cruising at 3 a.m.
Well, apparently that's when you need a road
During
cruise if you
breeding
want to
season,
see a
too, with
gator
that.
crossing the road anyway, and not just its little head
I
poking
mean,
out.
At least you got close to one.
Yeah,
You got to feel it.
No, I did not feel it.
No.
Was
it like obliterated?
No,
road
it
kill?
was like it was probably like 3 foot long. It was like a yearling, maybe.
Okay.
We can judge off of that size, and like I think his head got ran over, and that was it. Like he was just done. So I like took the 2 snake hooks and like whoop.
Yeah.
Like no one else needs to see that.
Give him a
Also,
proper
we're road
send-off.
cruising this road, and if I see this thing again, I'm gonna cry.
I can't keep looking at it.
I can't keep
too
seeing the
painful.
dead gator on the side of the road.
Yeah. Plus, I
But I
always
did-
try and get something that size or bigger off the road, simply because other animals are going to try and eat on it, and then they're going to get hit by cars too.
Yeah.
So it's just easier it's safer for all the animals just to get them off the
Stupidity
road.
magnet.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I can't remember what I was going to say. There's a good part of a story in here somewhere.
No corn snakes, no rat snakes.
No corn snakes, no rat snakes.
I mean, Jake's rat snakes, I guess. If that
Jake's
counts.
rat snakes.
That
Jake's
doesn't
Smitty's
count.
Smitty's corns.
That doesn't count.
What was it? You guys talk. I'll figure this out.
Well, so needless to say that the Beaufort area is now high on your list of destinations to move to.
Yeah. I need gators, man. I need gators so I don't own a gator.
Now, are you guys like
that's what it was. I got it.
Go on.
Ask your question.
No, go on.
Okay. Yeah. Shit, Phil.
Gators. Talking about gators, Maddie.
I'm about gators.
Owning gators?
Yeah. No, I got within like 5 to 7 feet of a gator here, and it was super cool, and I didn't even know it till it was in the water running from me. But yeah, at the Cypress place, there's like one little path by the Y that runs down to the river, and I don't know if you're actually supposed to be on it, but like it's not posted not to be on it.
There's nothing saying you shouldn't, but there's definitely signs that say
warning,
hey,
gators.
jackass, there's gators.
Yeah, right.
For the people that are walking their tiny dogs on the water's edge, like people like to do here for some reason.
I mean, yeah. So like I'm walking down there, and I'm like, okay, kids, you guys can't come down this far, but like I'm gonna try and inch closer to the water, and I'm like sitting there taking pictures of a gator, and all of a sudden, whoosh, and literally right on the bank, right over the grass. It was right there. If I jumped, I could have landed on it. It would have been
awesome.
That would have made my week, but I don't want to lose it.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, you walk up on the smaller ones, like you can get fairly close to them before they take off.
Especially if you got a head torch.
Yeah, if you blind them as you're walking up on them, they don't see you coming, literally.
Well, I also think it's funny that you guys have signs saying, danger, alligators in water. Our signs say, do not feed alligators.
Oh, they got those ones too.
Oh, okay,
actually, theirs don't say don't feed the gators. It says a fed gator's a dead gator.
Oh, really?
So it makes you feel even worse for feeding the gators.
Stop people from doing it.
No, because they generally don't care.
I don't doubt that.
People don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when I was on the wetlands, there was a snake. I could smell it, but I did not see it.
Probably Nerodia.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Nerodia out there, which has always surprised me because it's like prime, because there's a ton of frogs and a ton of fish and all kinds of stuff that Nerodia would be all about.
think it's because the park's closed at night and the rodeo are nighttime animals.
Yeah.
Very possible. Yeah.
Yeah, fair assumption.
Well,
I held
saying
one
you
of Jake's
can't.
in a rodeo when you were there.
Yeah, you did.
And I was like, I don't see what the big
It was
deal
the
is.
coolest freaking thing ever.
They are cool.
The keeled scales are like nothing else.
They are neat. I have zero desire to own them.
You know what?
They are cool.
I'll argue against you on that, but I will be in your camp for rhinos.
Yes, you got the Pepsi challenge on the rhinos versus barons thing.
Oh God!
The only reason the rhinos win is because I can hand them to my kids. That's it.
There's
gotta be more reasons to that.
You can hand the barons to your kid. Nothing's gonna happen.
Maybe.
Famous last words.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe they didn't think boom slings were venomous until the guy got bit and started bleeding everywhere.
But people.
Diary.
Yeah, but people know what happens when you get bit by a barons, and you don't let it bite you. It's as simple like that.
Yeah, but how do you keep a I can't hand that to a 4.
It's not that simple.
It's not
I
that
know,
easy.
I know.
A 4-year-old
For everyone listening, I'm joking. Don't do that. Don't hand baron racers to children.
But no, you do have a point. They're bigger, which is more impressive. The barons are. But like other than that, they're a little more flighty and runny, and I'm not about that life, man. Not about it.
Meanwhile, Jake was talking all this smack about, man, Baron, like your rhinos just sit in your hands. They don't even move. They don't do nothing. I'm like,
they're not my
you
ball
clearly
pythons.
haven't handled any of them. And which doesn't make sense because he's held mine multiple times. And he's like, man, these are cool. He's like, I could see myself getting some of these. He won't say that in public, but I heard it. He won't admit it. And those things were moving. They were checking it out, trying to figure out what vape flavor he was smoking that week.
I don't think I've ever had a rhino rat that sat still. I mean, they're not flighty per se, but they're always on the move. Very, very king snake-ish, you know.
Yeah, they're not quick though. Like the barons were quick.
Yeah, barons are whippy.
The barons, it seems like it's totally a 100% want to get away from you kind of thing. Like the rhinos, they're just curious and they just want to see like what's going on and what they can climb on, and
You're just a tree to the rhino.
That's right.
Yep.
Food monkey entry.
So Matt,
go for it, Phil.
We're getting lag. It's getting a little laggy. Sorry. I was going to say, have you narrowed down some of your prospect destinations for living?
We've actually widened our Craigslist search zone because we're kind of just looking for a deal to get down here.
Okay.
So like our same filter applies, like close to Charlotte, but if we're not on the coast right away, like it's okay.
Have you tried like Zillow and stuff or no?
No, yeah. If I had $6,000 and could afford $3,000 a month, I could have a house here right now, 100%. Wow. But I cannot afford $3,000 a month.
Yeah,
or $6,000 down. That's a little steep. But there are like affordable stuff. It's just when it comes up, it's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
So we're thinking we'll just probably try to find something. I don't want to be there for bike week this year. So we got to be out by August. We don't have a house to go back to, so like,
oh wow,
we got rid of the house. No reason to pay rent. No reason to pay rent another month if we're looking at moving. So
yeah,
something's got to happen. Where, I don't know yet, but
yeah, man, they're doing this thing down by me now. I don't know if you guys are seeing it up by you, but not only is the rent astronomical, but I guess you have to be able to, what is it? You have to be able to prove that you can pay 3 months in a row of triple your income or something like that. I'm probably saying this wrong.
I saw one here that was like you have to make 3 times the amount of rent. So like if the rent was $1,000, you have to make $3,000 a month.
Yeah,
Which I
it's,
think
you know,
is fair.
something like that. Well, not by me, man.
Well,
'Cause it
no,
ain't
not if
$3,000.
yeah, not in your price range.
Yeah, no way in hell, man. So
Here, like the reason they, especially like on this side of the county, because we have the Marine Corps base and the air station and stuff, like all the Marines get a housing allowance that is paid for by the government. And so all the people that own these houses and things that they're renting know how much they get, because I guess that's like public knowledge. That's not.
yeah, it's like Section 8.
So they jack up the prices of rent because they know that they're going to get that amount. And if it's like a Marine couple where they're both in the Marines and they're both active duty, then they both get a housing allowance, even if they live in the same household.
Oh wow.
So then, you know, the people that own these houses and stuff jack the rent up because they know they're going to get it. So it's like if you're not in the military, you know, you're like, sorry. And it works out for them because they're good. They know they're going to leave in 2 years or 3 years. Like, you know, they're going to get ordered and get stationed somewhere else. So,
well, they're building about 2,000 apartments and townhouses around my immediate neighborhood, and it was all golf course that has been abandoned for like 20 years, and now they've finally built all these townhouses, and there's a couple individual unit homes. It's all 0 lot line, and it's mostly apartments. And of that, like 2,000 or like 1,800 dwellings, none of them are for sale. It's all rent. And the cheapest rent for a 2 1.5 is, drumroll, $3,200 a month.
ridiculous.
Holy Nikes.
Yeah, if you want a 2.2, it's $3,600 a month.
Holy
And that's right now before it's finished being built. Once it's built, it's going to be like $4,000 a month.
You know,
in rent only.
That's crazy.
Yep.
We thought about swinging down to Florida, but we were tenting it, and I don't really feel like tenting it where mosquitoes can take me away, or my whole kid just off into the swamp somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and that's not all of Florida. That's just
it's most
down by me. So
fair enough.
Man, dude, like our mortgage is $1,100 a month.
That's not bad. I was paying.
It's fucking crazy.
It's cheaper to buy a house here than it is to rent.
Absolutely.
That's by a long shot.
Insane.
By several $100s a month. Like considerably cheaper to buy a house.
Insane.
I don't know if that's the case now necessarily with like interest rates and stuff. But like we bought this just before sort of everything exploded and things got crazy. So we got lucky, but yeah, like when we were shopping, I told Katie, I was like, I don't see the point in renting when we could get something cheaper and that we're actually going to own it eventually. You know, it's going to be like, yeah, everything's taken care of as far as the actual property itself if something happens. But at the same time, it's like, why am I going to spend more for something I'm never going to own myself?
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, it was a no-brainer.
It's wild how different it is across the country, because one of our friends that rents in Tennessee was saying how his rent went up on his 2.2 to $450 a month. Went up.
Yeah, this is why we were really looking at Tennessee, because we can live in Tennessee pretty cheap. And then the drivers are great. They all got places to be.
That's right. No Sunday drivers there.
And we thought about coming down to Florida for real, Jenkins. And I bet North Florida is great, but we can't live in Florida.
If I was going
just like Georgia's off the list, Florida's off the list.
Like that Gainesville area, like
that.
Melrose,
I've looked there.
I wouldn't mind. That's where I would go if I was in Florida. But
we might make it down to Tampa. I don't know. It depends on what happens here in the next couple of days. But we might head down to Tampa because that's our closest family at this point in time. So,
Cox said Apalachicola is cheap. Appalachia is cheap. That's because people just live in old shacks with moonshine stills.
That's how they make their money, Smitty.
That's right. running a straight-laced business here.
Selling shine.
Have you figured out like the logistics of the move itself? Like when you have a collection and stuff. Moving my collection across town sucked, let alone moving it all across
if country. You want to know the truth, most of my collection right now is in South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
But technically, I own more snakes in South Carolina than I do in South Dakota, and my collection is in South Dakota. So,
wow.
You got a bunch of stuff from Jake.
So, if we move to like Charlotte, I still got to come back down here to get all my snakes. Because, well, I bought 6 from Jake. I bought 3 pairs from Jake. I don't know if I publicized that yet. Probably not, but that's fine.
I didn't know. I feel left out.
Well, I don't think I publicized it yet, Phil. So this is all new to the public.
New as of 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
No, nice. Even better.
Yeah, 3 pairs. Got my first IJs.
Nice. Congrats.
First carpet pythons. Super
Hell
excited about that. So, like, that's 6 snakes. I own 7 in South Dakota. And then somebody's like, you want a southern pine? Sure, I guess.
Corns?
Yeah.
Sure.
Heck yeah, I'll take any corns. And no, back on the corn thing real quick. The amels fit into like what I already have. I want other things. If that makes sense. Like I can make snows. I've got snow combo stuff, but I really like those like
you want to diversify your portfolio.
Well, I really like the like tan and gray corns that you have.
Well, I have a small anery that is
gorgeous.
The biggest little dick you'll ever meet.
Yay.
That desperately needs a new place of residence.
It's an anery corn?
He's an anery, het, some other stuff.
Kelly will be so happy we got another cranky corn snake.
That shit'll buff out. It'll ride itself.
I've been trying to do my homework because I want to catch at least one. I'd like to catch a pair of Florida anery corns because there is a old highway system that goes right up the middle of the cane fields, and it's supposedly where some of the original aneries were found.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this summer I'm definitely going to hit that up because my quest for wild Everglades rats is coming up very short. So I'm going to focus on the anery corns, and if I stumble across an Everglades rat, then rock and roll.
I was going to say, as soon as you shift your search and your efforts, you're going to find that glaze.
That's it. And the crazy part is I need a boy. Like I have a girl from Kasiki that's one of my favorite snakes. I need the freaking boy. I can't even find them. And they're the only ones you find.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Oh, you got some pits from Jake too, didn't you?
Yeah. San Diego's.
Oh, nice.
But the other visual, but the normal, man. Those normal San Diego bull snakes are pits. Bull snakes, gophers,
same thing. All of them, whatever. Pits.
Yeah. They're just, I love how they wash out at the back, and they're he said they were for sale. I looked them up. I was like, yeah, I'll take those. And he's like, yeah, hey, I got some other things. Like, okay, I've got some extra money. What you got? So that's how I acquired 6. Maybe I can get a little bit of a deal if I buy 6 instead of 2. And I did.
It was the gophers, the carpets, and then
the carpets. It's 2 pairs of carpets.
Oh, 2 pairs of carpets. Okay.
Yep. One Jake produced, one Riley Jiminson produced.
Mm-hmm.
One's a wild caught female.
Mm-hmm.
And then an M
pen.
Yeah.
I remember that one he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. It's a good set, man.
Yeah, no, that's I wanted to get into those. So
it's a good set.
Yeah, there's plenty of things to do with them too. there's plenty of variation between the two pairs.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing
Awesome.
some of the stuff that Jake's produced, with what he's got so far, man, it's really good looking carpets.
Yeah, I'm excited. The other thing is it like it cuts some years out of this process, right? Like, and I put years into the process before, and I still got snakes that have years to go, and these snakes still might have a year or two, but at least I'm closer, because I've been thinking about like getting geckos, breaking my rule.
What kind of geckos?
Don't ask questions yet, Smitty. I'd be hitting up Phil for some geckos.
Everyone wants geckos of some type.
I don't know. I think I'd go Australian with or some leaf tails.
Yeah,
leaf tails are sweet.
I have to have some Europlatus before I die, and
Yeah,
Stropurus.
Leaf tails are worth the bugs.
And then I really like those like super tiny micro things.
Oh hell yeah!
Like Underground had some like blue ones. I can't remember what they were, but they
Williams
were like
eye.
bright blue.
Lygodactylus.
Yeah.
They stay like 2-3 inches long. I could go for those. Those would be super cool to keep. I've even talked to someone, I can't remember who, but it would be like super cool to even like get a group of emerald swifts.
Yeah.
Like super small. Like, I don't know.
Seeing those last week and on INAT in as many places as we did, those would be fun.
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
How do you not have Stropurus, Phil?
Money. Money.
You've never had them?
Never had them. I missed the boat when they were like 300-ish, and then it just got trendy, and now they're like
missed the boat $700 ago.
Exactly. I did. That's exactly it.
That's how I feel like I am with hognose snakes, man. I missed the boat when I had them the last time, and it's too late now. At least to be in on that boat. That boat was a great boat to ride.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's wild, man, how prices have changed and availability has changed, and it's a wild ride.
I firmly believe that hogs have and will surpass everything in terms of like being the next closest thing to balls.
Yeah, them and Cresties.
I don't even think Cresties can really even come close. Like Cresties are popular because of how easy they are, and stuff, but like you don't get nearly the variation in terms of like options to work with in Cresties than you do like hognose. And I mean, they're like hognoses. I mean, we're not even that far in the grand scheme of things.
No,
with hogs,
we're really not.
It's crazy.
That one price jump, though, man. I remember going to the Reptile Expo in Michigan, and I bought a pair of hognose snakes for $100, and that was it. Out the door, $100 a pair of hognose snakes.
Wow.
Just normals, but like I can't get a hognose snake for like even $100 now.
Yeah,
I think I saw normals at a show within the last couple of years, and they were like 130 or something a piece.
Wow.
I remember looking at it being like, that's wild. Like I remember just a year
though. I mean, I guess ball pythons, normals are just rampant.
Oh, Matt's taking Spurge.
Yeah, I have room for one more ball python. I need all my ball python sex to tell you what I need, but I've got room for only one more.
And it's Spurgeon.
Well, after that.
Oh.
That's 3. Gotta have 4, man. Yeah, StreamYard is really sucking it up tonight. Also, like, let's talk about like internet and cell phone connectivity down here, because it sucks.
How is it better in South Dakota?
I don't know. I was completely baffled when I'm like driving in town here, and like my GPS is like, I see the bars on my screen, they're just gone, and then they're back, and then they're gone.
There's a couple spots, yeah, where
Then they're
I
back.
know like I can expect my service to dip out for
And like
a mile or two.
I'm on Verizon.
I am too.
So
It
it's
doesn't
not
make
like I
sense.
should have great cell phone service everywhere.
It's,
But yeah,
it's
unless you
gone
go up
downhill.
and
It's not as good as it used to be.
unless you go up into the hills, man, you got cell phone coverage on any main highway in South Dakota.
Do you go to any shows out there?
There's only one. And yeah, I had the lady who started it on Twyla.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've invited Phil up to that show. If I live down here, there will be a car ride going to that show if anyone wants to hop in. And there's plenty of public land to camp on if you want.
Lisa, I see your message. She's saying that you guys are freezing and I'm not. So every time I see your guys' screen go flat, I like mute myself and play on my phone for a second till it comes back. And she's telling me I'm the only one working. Oh, geez. Sorry, go on.
Oh, yay, StreamYard.
How often is she doing that show? Is it twice?
Once a year.
Once a year?
Once a year, the weekend before Tinley, which is not amazing. But she almost did it on the Tinley weekend, and I was like, you can't do that. Don't do that to people. Like,
yeah, like having Carpet Fest the same, like a weekend before Daytona.
Hey, at least it's the weekend before, not the weekend of.
Making a real Sophie's Choice there.
And we have super good internet in South Dakota too. Like, we were some of the first with gig internet. Like,
there's only like 10 out there.
Well, there's also a lot of military installations going on out there, and a lot of research that no one knows anything about.
You seen UFOs out there?
No. I met a lady who thought she saw them every day.
Fair enough.
But no. Ghosts, man. We got ghosts.
Everywhere has ghosts.
Smitty, I'm going to have to just throw you in the car and we'll go find a ghost one day.
No,
just like a snake. You're not going to find it.
Here's the common thread in the several days that I've been watching my paranormal videos.
Oh, here we go.
I have learned the top 3 things to not do and keep the spirits out of your dwelling. Okay.
I'm listening.
Number 1 at the very top of this list. Like, bad shit really seems to happen if you decide to get a Ouija board and fuck with that.
I'm not buying a Ouija board.
I'm not buying a Ouija board.
Really,
I don't care if it's made by Mattel.
No.
If my child brings in a Ouija board, I don't care if it's got Barbie on it, My Little Pony, whatever. I don't care. It's going out of it. It's not coming in this house. Whether it's real or not. Don't even open yourself up to it. Just like the coral snake thing. If it's any of those colors, don't touch it. If it's a Ouija board, doesn't matter what color it is either.
Ouija boards are bad business, dude. But there's like a difference between like going somewhere that like you feel like there's people watching you when you're the only one in there, and like not like.
Probably being watched.
I've had one experience of actually like physically being touched, but like if you're not in there, like, yo, you ghost. You're just a piece of crap, and you need to come and show yourself, or I'm gonna kick
Reveal
your butt.
yourself, asshole.
Yeah, you're just crap. Yeah, the whole provoking thing. Yeah, that I 100% believe could go wrong. Just like a snake, though, man. Like if you're going herping, you're not like poking the copperhead with a stick, like trying to make it all mad. So, like, don't make the ghost mad, but like you can go see them. They're looking at you.
They can see you. You can't see them. That's the problem.
You just get a thermal camera.
Just like sharks. Dude, I've thought about that. I wish thermal cameras would work if you were out herping. Like, how awesome would that be to be able to scan like a wood line and be able to pick out something just curled up?
Yeah, you'd love it until you saw something you didn't want to see.
Wait, what does that even mean? A ghost?
They're watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ouija boards, number 1.
Yeah, bad deal. I agree.
Really Like, there's videos of people that just have like one sitting on their hamper in their room, like it's a an old Coke can or something. Like it's just chilling. And then they're like, why is this stuff happening to me? And it's like, well, did you play with the Ouija board? Yeah, like 2 days ago, and everything's been weird since. It's like, well, no shit.
Yeah, 100%.
The second thing on that list is creepy old dolls.
Yeah, dolls are creepy.
I saw this, but this dude had this old, like, court jester, the size of a small child doll, chilling in his room, staring at him while he sleeps. And I'm like, you're going to look at that and seriously not tell me that there isn't some sort of ghost attached to that or something creepy? Like, that thing isn't a freaking portal to the other side. Like, give me a break. And then he like puts it in a room by itself, and it like he hears knocking sounds on the wall and stuff, and it's like he's like, I wonder if it's from that doll. And it's like, what else could it be? It ain't rats, man.
Oh man, I wanted to go on eBay and buy a haunted doll, because you can like go on eBay and buy haunted things, and like a part of me is like, what dude is like just go into the Salvation Army and buying the 50-cent dolls and just putting them on there?
It's real.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, here $40 for this 50-cent doll I just bought.
If it was really haunted, they wouldn't be taking the time to sell it. They would be getting out of that house.
Well, like, but the theory is like you give a child like the ghost theory is you give the child a doll, and like the child imprints themselves on the doll in some way, shape, or form. And this is the old theory way back. So
sounds like some South Dakota Black Hills voodoo.
No, that's not South Dakota. That's way too old for South Dakota, man. South Dakota's 1800s.
All right, so what's number 3?
Yeah, give me number 3.
Shit, what was number 3?
Well, I've only seen one ghost in my whole life, and I was like 10 years old. And your mom like tucks you into bed. And at the time, I had just gotten glasses, and I had my glasses on the nightstand next to me. And I wake up like
motherfuckers in bed like Velma and Scooby Doo.
legit.
My glasses.
Can't see without my glasses.
Velma as fuck, right? And I wake up and I see a ghost in my doorway, and I like freeze. And I was like, oh my God, it's a ghost. And what do you do when you're a 10-year-old kid? You hide under the covers, right?
Yeah, because that's a force field.
Because
it
is
32 and I still do that.
It's bulletproof. It's demon proof. Like
Can't
it's a
get
blanket.
Me now.
Right?
That's what the problem with the movie The Grudge is. Like they took that away from you. They were like, no, you're actually closer to it now, and it's there in there with you.
Right, exactly.
Snuggling.
So I get under the covers, and I'm like telling myself, no, you're a big boy. You can do this. It can fly through walls. How's it going to hurt you? It's made of air. So I stand up and I march over to it because I'm going to, push it or something. I don't know. Meanwhile, the glasses are still on the nightstand, and I walk over, and my mother had hung up my school uniform for the next day on a coat hanger on the doorknob. And with the light from the hallway illuminating it, like reflected. Meanwhile, I'm blind as a bat because I didn't have my glasses on. And
trying to find a damn shirt hanging.
I walk up, and as I get closer, I'm like, "That's a fucking polo shirt. What the hell?" And I went back to bed.
I've like seen doors slam, heard them slam. No one's there. Closing up bars up in Deadwood late at night. Like Deadwood's haunted,
dude.
Straight up.
Deadwood. It's that if any place is haunted, it's fucking Deadwood.
Yeah, I bet you Savannah's more haunted, and that's right here.
Yeah,
Smitty could go hear doors slam, and that wouldn't hurt him, not as much as a Getchula would.
I'm like a sticky for the wind.
The PTSD is real. I don't know, man. I don't understand.
I'm agreeing with all your 2 points.
Again,
if you've got the third one,
why the Ouija board? Like you think it's cute and that it's like nothing's gonna come of it. Like, haha, let's see if anything actually happens. Like, why even take the chance? Why find out? Is where I'm at.
Well, I think that's like inviting them to talk to you when you're like versus like being in their environment and trying to observe them. Goes back right to reptiles, man. Like. You're like trying to you're trying to like provoke it by making it talk to you, as compared to just being like, hey bro, I'm here now, like here's a flashlight that the light is on but its battery's barely connected, so it can turn on if you touch it. Like,
a little bit.
can you make it turn on?
Well, okay, so the third one that also seems to be a common thread is these people have small children that they find like staring at corners of the room. All of a sudden they have imaginary friends that they didn't have before. And like, if I started seeing any of that, I'd be like, I need you to cut that out like right now.
Yeah.
Like, even if you see it, stop staring at it. Don't tell me it's there. Like, you can acknowledge it all you want. If I'm in the room, it ain't there. Pretend. Make believe that.
Yeah, the child one scares me. Like all the Ghost Adventures stuff where it's like the demon child. You can hear it screaming in the background. You know, like those ones get me a little bit. But I've never experienced that because it's all Deadwood stuff. It's all like Old West people and gunshots and bar room brawling and that sort of thing.
Well, and that's like Anna Maria's cousin was saying that they have very small children. And I guess like the 8-year-old sleepwalks. So she'll feel weird at like 3 a.m. and wake up and there's just this little boy just staring.
3 a.m. is when it happens, dude.
Yep.
And like, and she says like, hey buddy, are you awake? And like he snaps out of it because he was sleepwalking. And like, that is the creepiest of creepy.
See, I used to sleepwalk as a kid a lot. Maybe I was at one point a conduit.
Or you were just sleepwalking.
Sensitive to it.
I don't know, man. Because I'd get up and then I'd just go stand at my parents' bedside and stare at them for like 20 minutes. And then eventually they said I'd just turn around and go back to sleep. So
Lisa.
I don't know.
Jesus, Lisa, what are you doing, girl? Oh God.
If you're like,
if I woke up and my child was staring at me blankly,
yeah,
I'd probably punch her in the face, thinking she was like there was a demon inside of her and that she got to go.
But how is
women and children last? I'd be out the house. You can have them. Gotta go.
You've seen The Exorcism. You punch her in the face. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to hurt the kid.
Her.
Yeah, but if she's not conscious, the demon can't use her body.
That's how you get DHS,
physical
DCS
pain
at your house.
Physical pain, man.
Oh,
I talk in my sleep all the time, but I haven't sleepwalked in a long time. Last time I was sleepwalking was when I was in the snake room when I was living with Doug peeing in the trash can.
Nice. It's like that scene in Step Brothers. I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy. And the clown has no penis.
Dude, I remember like waking up and like thinking there was like a black mamba loose in my room, and so I'm like looking under my bed. I'm like looking around trying to find it. Like,
you had a black mamba?
No.
Okay.
Like in my like,
I
mind,
didn't think you ever had a black mamba.
All kinds of weird stuff, dude. I don't know.
Mike Kosicki, there's something on the wing. Something on the wing. Yeah, we can determine that the show has completely departed.
Oh man, this show was never about reptiles. I came on, I was so happy. It's like, yay, I don't have to run a show. And it's not my show, because like my show has a certain structure and a certain.
What's that like?
It's terrible. I tried to do scheduling, it didn't work for me. I don't know. It just. Yeah.
Well, how about this? Before I jumped in because I was late to the show, did we talk about how Matt has his own podcast and promote his podcast a little bit?
No, we haven't. We
need to do that
Matt yet.
We need to do that.
I'm just here.
No, but I mean, like, you're our boy. Like, we know you, but like some of the listeners, they may not know about Herp Talk Radio at all. So why don't you give us the rundown, bro?
Let's
put this train back on track.
An hour and 45 minutes in.
Let's away from the ghosts.
Finally start this show.
Is it a haunted train?
The tracks are not haunted.
Ghosts.
So, I have a podcast. It's Herp Talk Radio. I run it with Peggy Detmers. She's a turtle lady. She does a lot of conservation in turtles.
Cool turtles.
Those
things are awesome.
Yeah. I hope it proves out. Man, I owned 6 snakes before venturing to South Carolina, where now I own
double that.
a little more.
Baker's dozen.
Yeah, let's just call it 15.
What is a baker's dozen? Can someone explain
13.
that to me?
It's 13.
That's
13.
stupid.
No, it's you bought a dozen donuts. The baker gives you one for free as a thank you. It's a baker's dozen.
That makes sense.
It doesn't.
I'll buy that, Phil.
Whatever.
No, that's where it came from. But all right, so let me ask you this: so how many episodes are you up to now?
18. Man,
Nice.
it's been 2 weeks, so I've been traveling,
Yeah, you're doing family stuff. We get it.
trying to move, but so like 18, 19.
Excellent.
There's like more than a day's worth of listening.
Yeah,
I have a lot of hours of content.
that's good. That's great. And yeah, I mean, we love Peggy. We love you. How did
Peggy's
you?
awesome.
Peggy's awesome. How did you
No.
like?
Oh,
Am I frozen?
Oh no, Phil.
I'm not frozen. You guys are frozen.
Oh man, how did I
we're good
what?
now.
Oh yeah, we're all set now. I was gonna say, how
Yeah.
did you decide you wanted to do the podcast, and then how did you and Peggy get linked up?
Oh, okay. So even when I kept before, I kind of wanted to do a podcast, but then it was like Blog Talk Radio days, and it was a whole different world to try to network with people,
Yeah,
to try to get people onto a podcast. And I'm nothing special. I own very few snakes. I haven't ever bred snakes. I bred geckos.
yeah, but dude, that's irrelevant. You're an active contributing member to our community, and we love you for it.
Right. But when you're asking people to come on your show, it is a little
Okay.
relevant, like a little bit, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, I always wanted to, and then the Blog Talk thing kind of, I didn't want to do that. So then when I came back in, and we got reptiles again, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm just going to do it. We're going to do it once a week, and it's going to be the thing. I made a post on Facebook, like, hey, anybody local into reptiles? What kind of reptiles? Like, tell me a little about yourself. And I had a good chunk of people comment, but none with the qualifications of Peggy, which
Yeah.
I was kind of looking for, like the scholar and the out in the dirt,
The academic
versus the high school guy.
Yeah.
You know, and it works. It's that dynamic is what I got. That's what I wanted. That's what I was hoping for when I made the post. I got what I wanted, and it's I like the show. Really,
It's great.
I like doing it too.
Yeah, man. You guys complement each other really well. You guys feed off of each other really well, and you both have different questions for the guest, different topics to commiserate on. It's great.
And totally different perspectives on the world too, and like, we're so different. And that's what makes it good, because like she asked questions I'd never think of.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
completely different. And I think different questions than like there isn't many people that would ask the exact same series of questions that she does. So
Sure.
you know, it's very unique in that way.
People don't realize, man, like a co-host like really can make a difference in terms of like that, having another perspective to see things at, and you know, ask the questions that you may not have thought of on the spot or anything like that. Like that was something I always thought Phil was really good at, was asking questions that maybe were on my mental list, but for some reason just didn't happen, or you know, thinking of something that was a really good follow-up to something.
I appreciate that. And I was just going to say that very similar thing of many people think about doing a podcast on their own, whether it be like, you know, Joe Rogan before he got really big, or like Bill Burr has it. Bill Burr's the only host of the show. And it's very difficult to do that. And it's very difficult to keep things going. But if you have a co-host that whether you agree on the topics or not, you can feed off of each other, and that just prolongs it and makes it bigger and better. Like I know for a fact in my soul that if I did a solo show, like I couldn't do it 2 hours. I couldn't. But with Smitty, we feed off each other. We feed off of the guest. Like it's so much more harmonious. And I think you and Peggy have a great way of doing that.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, we do. I lost it again. It's fine.
It'll come to you. You'll text me at 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm not up at 2 in the morning. Your time, because your time is now my time, and
yes, exactly.
2 in the morning used to be midnight, but
yeah,
now it's 2 in the morning.
I don't think you've actually ever texted me at 2 in the morning, so don't worry about it.
I'm not going to do that. If I do, you need to text me the next morning and be like, "Yo, you okay, man?"
Yeah, I got you.
How was your night?
I thought it was really neat that Peggy had this turtle thing, pop up, and then her going to, I guess, what's the equivalent of like South Dakota DNR and saying like,
yeah,
hey, I'm doing this, are you guys cool with it? And then them actually taking that a step further and sort of like entrusting her with that project and working with them to.
Yeah, and like her working with them before sure helped in that department because she knows everybody there. And like that department is not big. Think about this. Beaufort County, the whole county, is 200,000 people. Just in this county.
Right.
South Dakota is 800,000 people. So Beaufort is a quarter of the size of South Dakota. Beaufort County is a population.
How long does it take you to get from one side of the state to the other?
6 hours.
Like
straight
laterally?
Across.
What about?
That's the longest part of the drive here.
Wow.
Except for Tennessee. Tennessee's really freaking long too. Yeah. But there's a lot to see in Tennessee.
It's Florida flip sideways.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now that's interesting that you say. So you said there's 20,000 or 200,000 people in Beaufort?
Yeah, about.
Okay.
Beaufort County, not Beaufort itself.
Yeah, Beaufort County. Okay. So I'm in Broward County, right, which is Fort Lauderdale area. And there is approximately 2.4 million people.
Yeah, that's
in my county.
Triple the population of my state.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like
that's
our rent,
freaking incredible.
Our rent there, we can't find a house for under $3,000. But there is not that many people there to support that kind of money at all. Right. It's just not there. It's going to come crashing down real hard, and I want no part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild, man. Wild.
At least there's people here, I know, like, people suck, but you kind of need people to make money to feed yourself. So
it's crazy how that works, right?
It is.
Meanwhile, my good buddy, he was a herper down by me, he moved to North Florida. From North Florida, he went to North Georgia. He's got 7 kids. He just moved to Alaska from Georgia. And like they did a whole, I don't know, it was a week or 2 drive with all the kids, and they made adventures of it and went to national parks, and like they did it right, But dude, what a crazy adventure that must have been. Yeah. I haven't even talked to him. I was like, look, man, get settled in, get in your job, and get the family going. And then when you're chilling, then you and I can have that 2-3 hour conversation about the whole adventure. But it's crazy. I give you mad props for doing what you're doing, brother.
Man, we are absolutely psycho. If you want to know the truth, like. Everyone in South Dakota looked at us like we were crazy. Like everyone we tell along this journey, they're like, oh my gosh, either like, I wish I could do something like that, or wow, good job, guys. Like we did this, and we like keep going, man. So it was only the people back home that was like, you guys are really, really crazy.
You want to leave this?
Well, and that's what I was going to ask is I feel like a lot of times in the Midwest and like out in the Northwest, there's this kind of, I don't want to say small town mentality of like, we'll never leave, or I gotta get out because no one ever gets out. Is that kind of the vibe by you?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of it. We got to get out because we're never going to get anywhere if we don't.
Yeah.
And no one ever leaves. I mean, the people leaving,
You can check out.
it's growing.
You can
So
never leave.
it's not all inbred, but you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's very small towny in that aspect.
I mean, I don't ever plan on leaving Beaufort.
Yeah, Smitty's got more of a small town vibe than me, and he's in like a city in my mind. Beaufort County is bigger than any city in South Dakota. I am pretty
used
sure.
to be considerably smaller.
My grandpa was telling me Beaufort is smaller than Spearfish, and like not even to worry about it. Like it's just a super small town. Yeah, you were back here in 1950. Don't be talking to me about the size of anything anymore. Because
Kelly jumped in and says it's a vortex that sucks you in.
Yeah, it is. Totally.
Yeah.
And you just can't get out. And then there is that, like, my family moved there. So, but there's this whole, like, this is the best place to live mentality that everyone has, but they don't want anyone to move there. So they're like, if you say you're going to move there, like, oh, don't do that, man. Like, well,
you don't want to live here.
You don't want to live here. We get 40 below, man.
You want to go to North Dakota, not South.
Well, no, you want to go to Denver or somewhere else. Like, just go to Colorado. But gosh darn,
I don't know. I mean, I moved around a lot as a kid because we were military and everything, but I always wanted to live here. And now that we do, like, I don't plan on leaving. I'm firmly convinced that I will die and be buried here. So,
yeah,
I wish I had that feeling. I feel like my life would be a lot further along if I felt that way.
I think it's because I wanted to live here so bad as a kid because all my family's from here. You know, it was like we always came here to visit, but we never lived here. And so it was like as soon as we got here, I was like, cool, I'm good. I also don't like change. I don't like cities. Like if I go to Atlanta, Katie thinks that I'm gonna have a freaking aneurysm because it's so nerve-wracking. Like I'm not used to traffic, not used to chaos, not used to like Zombieland, Skid Row, homeless people. Like just I don't know. I can't. It's like it's a culture shock thing, dude. Like even where was it? Like we went to Atlanta a couple years ago to go to the aquarium, and that was rough. And I was like, this is I don't know how people live there, because it's too busy. And then like even places like Charlotte, where there's just a lot going on. I don't know. I'm not into it, and that's why I like this side of the county rather than like Hilton Head and stuff because it is considerably busier down there. But I don't know, dude. Like I complain about the drive across town here being 15 minutes, but then guys like Phil laugh because it's like that's adorable.
Hang on, I've been in this town for 4 days. The drive across this town to anywhere is 20 minutes. It is not 15. Unless you are downtown and coming to your house, and then it's 15 minutes.
Sure. If you catch that bridge, then it's
an
30.
hour.
Yeah, one of the last freaking drawbridges on the East Coast.
No one warned me about
I hate that damn bridge.
No one warned me. Why didn't anyone tell me?
So how far is it from downtown to Smitty's house?
Like 15 minutes.
No, but how far?
8 miles.
8 miles. So
8.6, I think, is what my GPS said today.
Okay. So my fiance's house is, I think, about 7 or 8 miles. And with red lights and normal traffic, it may take me 45 minutes to get there.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and Kelly's
couldn't do it.
Kelly's mom lives like 86 miles away from us, and we can make it there in an hour. So
Wow.
That's a little pushing it. An hour and 10 minutes. But the speed limit's also 80 out there, man.
That's crazy.
Well, the wildest thing about around here, because I mean, just to get to like the FedEx hub on Hilton Head, so from here, like from my house, that's probably a solid hour.
Oh yeah, because you got to go all the way around.
Right. Like down here, we have all the damn like creeks and waterways and barrier islands and stuff. And on a map, they're like right next to each other.
But
like
it
that
takes...
hub on Hilton Head is literally like as the crow flies, like probably less than 10 miles.
Yeah, you can see it from the beach, so it is less than 10 miles.
But you got to go like inland and like all the way around.
Well, I was mistaken. It's not 8 miles. It's 18 miles. So I made that mistake.
Okay. That's a totally different story because we were camping about 18 miles from downtown, and that was 30 to 45 minutes contingent on traffic.
Okay. Sorry. So it's about the same.
Yeah. But it's because of all the curvy roads and that. All the straight lines in South Dakota, you just get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like even Charleston. Like if you went on St. Helena, which is like the adjacent island to us, if they just built a bridge from the end of St. Helena, like you'd be in Edisto, which is typically like an hour and a half drive because you have to go in and around. If they had just sort of connected these things somehow or another, you could literally be in Edisto in like 30 minutes. It's crazy. It's so bizarre. Like you look at it on the map and everything's like right next to each other. But when you actually have to drive there, it's a freaking trek.
I thought Charleston was way closer.
I mean, it would be if they find a way to build bridges.
We weren't even in that part. We were up in Somerville talking to the Cold-Blooded Caffeine guys. Peggy talked to those guys. That interview's to come.
Nice. That's awesome.
I don't know how I want to release it. I've been really struggling with how I want to release content.
Just put it out, man. Yeah.
Like schedule or just like...
No, I just don't know if I want to put out like a 20-minute podcast. I don't know.
Content is content is content.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Man. Doesn't matter if it's 20 minutes or if it's 2 hours. Content's good. Put it out.
If there's anything I've learned over my illustrious career as a podcaster, it's that consistency is key.
Yeah, and when you miss 2 weeks in a row, followed by another 2 weeks, and that's not great. Not great consistency going on over here this month.
We take a break at the end of the year. We take like half a month off.
Yeah, that's when our break is supposed to be.
You know, it's like it's things happen. Jake was gone for a freaking year.
Yeah, he was.
Hey, I try to take care of business.
You did phenomenally.
We're not complaining, Phil.
Well, I will say this: Venom Exchange Radio. I was trying to do one a month, and we lag behind, man, because it doesn't matter how many I get in the queue. It's just never enough, and I feel like that show could be way bigger than it is if we could do it once a week. But
the biggest hurdle is just time schedules and time zones.
Yeah,
I don't know how, like, even like there's plenty of international people that we've wanted to have on both this and THP and stuff, and it's like UK is out unless we do it on a weekend because they're 8 hours ahead of us.
No, so UK is 5 hours plus American East Coast.
Okay, so I mean, still like.
So if it's noon here, it's 5 p.m. there.
We're gonna have people get up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
You just have to do it on your lunch break, Smitty.
And that's honestly when Nipper and I record Venom Exchange Radio, the majority, I'd say at least a solid 80, if not 90% of our guests are international. And it'll be, 11 a.m. for me. It'll be 4 p.m. for Nipper. It'll be 8 p.m. for someone in South Africa, or 7 p.m. for someone in Egypt, or dare I say it's 8 a.m. the next day for Sydney,
Mm-hmm. Well, that is the sort of the ironic part is like the people in Australia are the easiest ones to work, like time zone wise, to work with, because it's like midday there, It's like it just like that's never an issue, but it's like everyone in between Australia and us, that's when it's like this gets complicated.
I'll tell you the easiest one was actually Lou Boyer, because when we did Lou Boyer's episode, he was actually in Japan at the time, but he has like a condo in Tokyo or whatever, and he was in Japan, but he was still on American like time in his mind.
Yeah.
So he was wide awake at 2 a.m. and he recorded with us. So that panned out perfectly. But had he been on Japanese time, it would have been screwed up big time.
Yeah. Yeah, the handful of times we've done it, we've had to do it. We scheduled it for like a Saturday or Sunday, like late morning. I know, like when we had Daniel Natush on, that was an early in the day thing. I think Luke was doing it. He's in California, so he was like up super early for that. Yeah, that's always been the biggest struggle as far as us and guests go. I don't know what's been the biggest struggle for you, Matt. Overall.
Mine is scheduling, but I don't think it's in that way. I think it's more in the acquiring. It's acquiring the amount of guests and the right time slots at the same time.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of moving parts.
I've had very few people be like, absolutely not, bro, don't contact me again. But I'm also reaching out to people who I'm pretty sure will just be like, yeah, man, like this sounds cool, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So also, I didn't want to have a whole bunch of podcast hosts be my first episodes. And unfortunately, if you actually count, it's probably leaned that way.
But that's okay, man. It's getting exposure. It's getting, the people that, I don't want to say us, but like, for example, both of us have been on your show.
Yep.
And we have
Jake is so pissed.
What's that?
Jake is so pissed because he's the only one who hasn't been.
Well, that's his own fault.
That is his own fault.
It's his own fault.
I got 2 jobs, man.
I know he has 2 jobs. That's why I haven't asked him. He's busy Wednesday nights. Why would I even ask him?
Yeah. So what I was saying is like we have a good amount of listeners. NPR has a good amount of listeners. You know what I mean? So it's smart to have for us to share the exposure,
Right.
I will say this though. I love Peggy's turtle involvement because there isn't, and we're guilty of it. This show's guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. There's not enough, and Smitty knows what I'm about to say. There's not enough Chelonian action out there. And, let's do it.
There's 2 podcasts that I know of that are completely turtle and tortoise centric, and that's Pierre Leone's show and then Pondcast. And then I'm sure there's some of the more like academic related stuff.
There's Let's Talk Turtles that Ryan Dumas does.
Yeah.
With Tom Arbor.
Yep.
Is that his last name?
I think so.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, there's never a particular reason as to why that's been the case. It's just one of those things where it's like, we had Dumas on to talk pancakes. We've had Pierre Leone on to talk Spangler Eye. The Knixis guys, like, stuff. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just because that section of the hobby just isn't as big. It's harder to find people that are more in it in like a more serious capacity, I guess. I
think that those are the easiest for me to find, man. The turtle guys.
Really?
Like, oh man, that's the thing. Like, I'm not a turtle guy, but I could run a dang turtle podcast thanks to Peggy, and like an only turtle podcast, because she's got a handful of connections, but those handful of connections like own the market, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have huge collections, but they own the market on what they do own.
Right.
So
yeah. I feel like at least for this show, obviously it's snakes and stogies. It's snake centric.
You're not going to have turtle people on,
and that's not true. Because like Smitty was saying, we have our Knixis boys and Dumas and stuff, and I feel like that's because we love those turtles. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's easy to have guests who specialize in species that you're interested in as a host, right?
Right.
That I'm not poo-pooing on box turtles. I'm not poo-pooing on sliders like terrapins or any of that. Like, dude, I'm on a wood turtle kick, man. I've been doing my wood turtle homework. I'm probably not going to own them just because I don't feel like I could do them justice. I've said this before, but like, we should totally have some wood turtle people on, and THP as well, because that's more herp centric as a whole. But it is something that I feel is lacking. But because you guys are you guys, it's a beautiful gateway.
It is. I appreciate it too, and they've been so welcoming. Like, I went over and toured collections, like they've been so welcoming just as well. So. I don't know. The turtle market is where the ball python market was about 20 years ago.
Okay.
I could see that.
And that's where it's at. So like the really cool stuff in turtles is a lot of morph projects because they're like proving them out. Like Peggy has proven out a morph. Like Patrick, who I went and saw, who's got all the turtles on my Instagram recently. He's got the majority of all the Xanthic red eared sliders.
Wow.
Like the majority of them in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
He's got that market locked down. Mike, the guy that he was sick, but I was supposed to go see his place. I would have been like one of 4 or 5 people to see an albino eastern painted turtle.
Wow.
Like, so, and maybe it's because it's like the ball pythons. Like the ball python, you guys don't do too many ball python people or morph things either, because it's more sciencey, right? It's not, oh, let's make this combo with this combo. You guys are more academic.
Yeah, more natural history.
I mean, I think the ball python thing is mostly because there's plenty of ball related stuff that's sort of already out there, and I don't feel like we're clued in enough to really be able to do it much justice, if that makes sense.
Sure. I also feel like to coincide with that, it's almost, we've said this before, it's its own hobby. It's its own thing.
It's big enough to be its own separate part.
Yeah.
And there's just not a ton of interest there for me. Like, I mean, I would much prefer to talk turtle morphs with somebody than ball python morphs.
Yeah, I can hook that up for you.
Nothing against ball pythons, but I mean, there's all like I know off the top of my head a couple of podcasts that are already completely focused on those, and it's like they're going to be able to cover that stuff a lot better than I would.
Yeah,
like all the questions I'm going to be asking are going to be pretty rudimentary and probably pretty dumb.
Yeah, I would sound dumb if I had a ball python person on, but I guess I wouldn't, because like my podcast is me sounding dumb anyway, asking dumb questions to people. So they're good questions, but sometimes they are dumb. They're dumb. They're dumb for the information. They're like,
there's a dumb question coming. I'm like, this is gonna be a dumb one, but
yeah, and if you don't ask, you'll never know.
Right.
You know, I don't care how stupid I sound asking a dumb question, but I want to get the answer. I want to get the knowledge, you know?
Right.
And there's one thing that I've noticed from this show is that I've had people reach out to me, and like we always talk in scientific names, right? And this show is one of the ones that's very guilty of it, where we don't say what it really is. So unless someone's not driving to work and they're on a computer or they're on their phone and they can be Johnny on the spot and Google or try to Google the scientific name that we used, it makes it difficult to listen for a lot of listeners.
Many times where I've been at work listening to you guys and like, okay, I don't even know what they're talking about. Keep listening when you get some time, man. When you get some time, figure it out.
I use that as an example because
it happens.
You gotta slow down. Like we gotta slow down sometimes and remind ourselves, like, okay, not everyone knows what Oreocryptophis is. You know what I mean? And that's I've been trying to. And I know Smitty's done it too. I've been trying to rewind or like pause in parentheses to give a little explanation as to what might be being discussed. And I don't want it to come off as condescending, and I don't want it to come off as preachy or, dare I say, mansplainy, pretentious. But I feel like there is a lot of times that we have to do that, and I hope that people aren't taking it in a negative way. And I look at it the same way as me asking a quote unquote dumb question. You know what I mean? Spell it out for me, because I don't know what that means.
Doing the reason. That's what I mean by dumb questions. I mean, like the simple questions, even they're not dumb. Like,
right.
But I ask a lot of questions that I know an answer to sometimes, you know, like I ask it for the listener because that's who it's about. And,
sure.
And the guest as well, to be able to share their knowledge. I mean, I'm not, again, I have 6 snakes in boxes and they're not breeding age and like very little experience in the breeding of snakes, but I can ask questions. And share someone else's information, and that's where the whole like I love the NPR comment that we got, because like, no, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like just facts. I mean, fun too, but like NPR. Like, okay, so how are you today? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
and let's be real, man.
That's what it is.
It is a super duper compliment to even be compared in the remotest way to one of the greatest radio shows of all time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So like, even though we may be breaking stones and being friendly about it, like that's a huge compliment.
Oh yeah, no. And this, like how I try to structure my questions and how me and Peggy interact is it's set up in that NPR fashion. It's set up in that if you know nothing, you should be able to listen to this and know what's going on.
Yeah. I one day you and Peggy got to do the side-by-side skit from Saturday Night Live. You know, the two women, this is like 1990s Saturday Night Live with the two women making fun of NPR, and they're very slow talking, but everything is a sexual innuendo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have seen this. Yeah.
You have seen this? It's like, hi, and today we're talking about Matt's muffins. Matt made some delicious muffins. Smitty, have you tasted Matt's muffins? Oh yes, I've tasted Matt's muffins. They were some moist muffins. You know, you guys got to do that one day. Got to hear it.
Fair enough. We got to have one mess around episode because I'm like real serious. Like
all business.
When that record button gets pressed, I'm me. Like I'm still the same person, but I'm a different person at the same time. You know, it's a cleaned up version, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
I get it.
If you're serving at a restaurant that serves, your plate's going to cost you $250. Like that server better be just on point.
Yeah.
That's how I feel every time I hit that button.
You don't want to go to the Michelin star restaurant and all of a sudden the waiter comes over and goes, "What's up, dudes? Figure out what you want."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This is yeah. That's why I was so happy to come here. It's not my show. I don't.
Like, it's always so nice.
I don't have to.
You ain't driving. You're along for the ride.
Yeah, 100%. I was so excited about that. I'm like, and then like I don't have to like watch things as hard because it's not my show.
Yep.
You know, my show's branded a certain way. I want to keep it that way, but I am a real human. I do cuss.
Yeah. Every time you want to talk about Lisa's sweaty balls, feel free to come on Snakes and Stogies.
Oh, man.
But Phil, you said we use scientific names a lot, and we don't call them by their real name. The scientific name is the real name.
Forgive me for not speaking in correct nomenclature.
Ugh.
I meant common names, common American English names. I have to preface with American English because there's some of our listeners that speak proper English, and they would highly disagree.
Right.
I don't know. I don't really feel like bad that we use scientific names as much as we do.
No, neither do I. But I also
can understand
be those. I don't want to be that snooty asshole that only speaks in generics. You know.
I think we try to like because I use scientific names a lot. So like Peggy has no idea, which really helps because like I'll say I caught a Nerodia last night, and she'll be like, "What? What's a
disease?
What's a Nerodia, Matthew?" So then I have to be like, "Yeah, I caught a Nerodia, yeah, water snake," and then that's on the podcast. Like I've got both of them.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Yeah, and what's funny is I guess Smitty and I were talking about leopard rats and. On one of our recent episodes, and Nipper messaged me. He's like, "Oh, I heard you talking about leopard rats. Which ones were you talking about?" And I said, "Well, when we talk leopard rats, we're talking about Zemensis.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You know." And he's like, "Oh, okay, just making sure," because it's like that's the only leopard rat.
Taxonomy isn't real. There you go.
Yeah.
No, it is real. You shut your whore mouth.
No,
it's real sometimes.
Real made up by humans.
Real made up.
Real fake doors.
Yeah.
Are you in need of a real fake door? Come to Matthew's Real Fake Doors.
I don't. It's to me, it's just a habit at this point. I guess I've mentioned in the past, like it really became a habit when I was deep into inverts because common names don't get used in tarantulas and scorpions and stuff like that. Like it does not happen because everything has about 10 different common names just in English. I'm sure in other languages and native languages there's probably 10 others, but
every village has a different name for the same scorpion.
So I don't know. Like that's when it really kicked in for me, and it just never really left. And that's just like half the time someone will ask me like what's a Jansenii, and I'd have to like think for a second because there's at least 2 common names that I can think of. And it's like I can tell you either or, but you're probably still not gonna like it's still not gonna you're gonna be like, what's that?
Touring your room made my brain hurt because I had to think. Because you were like, this is
that's the Persimmon.
Yeah.
That's the Jansenii.
Uh-huh.
That's the, what else do I have?
And there's more than one snake with the name Jansenii, right?
Diones.
I'm pretty sure there's more than one Jansenii snake.
Possible.
I'm pretty sure because if you Google Jansenii snake, you're talking Gonyosoma, right?
Of course.
Okay. There's something else though. I'm pretty sure.
Look right
there's one of those. It's either that or in pits. There's one of those Latin names that if you just use it, that might be it. Might just be Jani and Jansenii.
Jansenii are way cooler than Jani.
They're just so close, man. Can we just call
the
them?
Bimaculata and the Diones, yeah. But like I don't know. Again, it's just like the Macklets thing and it being like the short form for me. It's like it's easier for me to say Bimaculata or Bimac than twin-spotted rat snake.
Fair enough.
But Mike said you never call the rhinos by their scientific name.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
Smitty.
Rhino, again, short form is easier to say than Belandrii.
Well, it's
whatever you want to say.
Like vertebralis. Like at one point, I had multiple different animals that were all vertebralis. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a gecko and 2 different snakes. Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You talking about the gecko or are you talking about the gopher snake?
I mean the Persimmon are a good example of that too, because those have green bush snake, green trinket snake. I think there's at least one more common name for them. Like there's just like if I say green bush snake, are we talking about Persimmon or are we talking about African? Like,
yeah,
you should use both. You should use both every time you're on the podcast.
I should say Gonyosoma or Rhamnophis Persimmon (parenthesis) green trinket snake.
Yes,
I like your genera correction.
Yes, we use the proper nomenclature.
That's all right. Look, I fully accept that cane toads and the like are Rhinella, but I'm still going to call them bufos, like chondros. Yeah, chondros.
Yeah, I call chondros.
Yeah,
and I still call IJs. You're not going to get me to switch to poplins. IJ is way quicker.
Yeah,
especially when you have natives to the province of West Papua that still refer to it as Irunjaya. So
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, if that whole argument's just so dumb because it's like if I say, Papuan carpet or West Papuan carpet, you know what I'm talking about. If I say IJ, you know what I'm talking about.
Well,
it's
now
like the whole venomous versus poisonous thing, like the people that have to, like they cannot, with every fiber of their being, they cannot not correct someone on it. It's like I know when someone says poisonous, I nod my head. I'm like, I know what you mean. Like,
isn't it where I think English and Spanish is the only time, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, English and Spanish is the only 2 languages that differentiate venomous and poisonous? Something to that extent?
I don't know, because venomous in Spanish is venenosus, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. I think those are the only 2 languages.
I don't know what poisonous is in Spanish.
Oh, I don't know.
Google.
Yeah. Well, boys, I hate to be that guy, but we're at 2 hours and 30. Is there anything else you guys want to touch base on? Because I got to work in the morning.
Yeah, y'all got to work in the morning. I got to figure out what I'm doing with my life.
Oh, no. Poisonous in Spanish is venenosa.
Oh, okay.
Or venenoso, depending on if you're masculine or feminine.
Interesting. So then maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't Spanish. But Matt, where can people get a hold of you, brother?
At Herp Talk Radio on Instagram. We have a group on Facebook, Herp Talk Radio. That's where you can find me.
Excellent.
That's all I'm repping right now, man.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Herp Talk Radio. Check it out. Matt and Peggy busting it. Is there an official release schedule, or is it kind of just when you get a chance to? I know you record on Wednesdays, but
we try to go live Wednesdays.
Oh, so it's always live.
No, we try. Well, I have one in the back burner usually.
Okay.
So I could go live or just release.
Right.
But that's kind of gone right now because
traveling and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that's how we usually set up. And I couldn't get my computer to actually render the video. It kept hitting 86% and just was like, yeah, I'm done trying to
StreamYard
make your video for you. Not StreamYard.
Oh, no.
That's like video editing software.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, StreamYard. I'm still mad at you for the connection.
Yeah, tonight's not been great.
Yeah.
It's been better than it has been. I don't know. Like, for some reason, I think my internet's been having issues. So I restarted my modem before we even got started and everything, just preemptively.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
But this episode was brought to you by Fulvius Apparel. FulviusApparel.com. Give it a follow. Facebook and Instagram at Fulvius.apparel. BlackBoxCages.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram. Use the code THN at checkout. Save yourself some money. Yeah, it's all reversed and weird. And then Puget Sound Pythons, the newly married awesome people of the Pacific Northwest. Go give them a follow on Facebook and Instagram as well. Yeah, I'm assuming they're not going to be posting much at the moment because I'm sure they're honeymooning and all that good stuff. So
yeah.
We will not be having THP on Thursday because Jake is going out of town Friday and said something about wanting sleep and to pack. What a bitch.
Just throw him in the car and tell him he can't sleep. He'll sleep in the car. He'll let you drive. Don't worry.
He was like, are we doing THP Thursday or are we going to skip? Because I'm going out of town Friday. And I'm like, whatever, man. Do what you want to do. I'm good.
I even gave him crap. I'm like, we could have talked about everything we're doing, but no.
That's out of the question now.
I could have found a little coffee shop somewhere.
He could have bragged about all the stuff he put you on.
Yeah.
You know?
Put him on.
How awesome he is with catching me a gator.
The Copperhead Lord.
Man, I ain't never seen one, so that's cool. I would.
No, his
I'm
bragging
envious
of all the copperheads he's found and stuff is just cracks me up.
Man, 3 in 30 minutes is pretty good.
It is pretty good.
That's amazing.
I'm not gonna.
But he cannot for a minute take credit for that as skill.
No, that's all random chance. But it was skill to find that road that produces 3 copperheads in 30 minutes at the right time of day.
That's true.
That's what the skill came in.
They come to me. It was skill to cut it out of a freaking.
Oh man!
Basically a cast net.
Smitty uses garden nets to catch snakes.
That's right. You guys are using all this gas and stuff to go find them. You guys are playing checkers. I'm playing chess.
Yeah, Smitty uses neighborhood watch and public outreach.
That's right. They come to me. Except corals will forever evade me.
Your friendly neighborhood snake man.
I wish they would get a damn coral stuck in that garden netting. That's what I should have told them. Be like,
it still wouldn't count as you finding it.
I don't care. I just want to see one with a pulse that isn't paper thin on a road.
You got to go drive the road, man, and not be the guy who runs it over paper thin. And it's just got to be random chance.
I'm always hours late because that thing's already like origami. Just gorgeous and folded up, and I always hope that maybe the tear that will drip from my cheek will hit it and it will spring back to life. And
that's how I felt about the gator, man. That's how I felt about the gator.
But you did still see live ones.
Yeah, that's very true. And I can go
God
see
just
him
gives
anytime.
me dead corals and is like, this is all you get. He likes to pick off my feelers and watch me squirm.
On that note,
we'll see everybody later.
bye.
See ya.